overall growth in the economy. But you add to that the energy transition, data centers, and we're seeing a compounding of copper demand growth. So we're expecting demand to grow by up to 70% by 2050. Against that backdrop, you've got it becoming harder and harder to find new copper deposits. And so BHP is in this advantaged position of starting as the world's largest copper producer. We've got great growth options ahead of us. One of them right here in the U.S., in fact, in Arizona. And this has had a lot of support from President Trump, Secretary Burgum, and the administration to try to get that project going. Because if we get that project up and running, it can supply 25% of the U.S.'s copper demand for decades to come. It's in joint venture with another company. But we're pretty excited about the outlook for copper and specifically here in the U.S. for this growth option that we have.
And where does that's the Resolution mine in
That's
Arizona.
the Resolution mine, yeah.
So where does it exactly stand? Because I know it is sort of stalled, was stuck, and maybe not anymore.
So it's progressing.
Yeah.
You know, it's been through a series of court challenges, but we've been successful in a number of those. Few challenges yet to be resolved. We're hopeful that those get resolved in short order, because once they're resolved, then we can undertake a pretty significant campaign to better understand the resource, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars, all leading up to potentially a $10 billion plus investment decision in this mine that could be so important to the U.S.'s critical mineral supply chain security when it comes to copper.
All right, you hit that topic, critical mineral supply chain, governments wanting to make sure that they kind of secure those resources for the long period of time. How do you fit into that, right? You have a lot of these sort of more specialized mining companies. The government has either taken a stake or kind of endorsed them one way or another.
So, look, at the end of the day, it's going to be a multifaceted solution, I think. And there's certainly a very important role for companies like BHP to play in that, because copper deposits are becoming harder to find. When they do get found, they're oftentimes more difficult to develop, more costly. And so companies like BHP that have scale, strong balance sheets, a lot of technical depth are best able to bring some of these projects forward. And so we're out there engaging, trying to advocate for good policy, looking for there may be opportunities for us to bring new mines on. And then we're working with governments and other stakeholders to do that as quickly as possible. Because one of the challenges to addressing this supply deficit and the weaknesses in critical mineral supply chains is the permitting process. And it takes a long time to get a new mine or a new processing facility up and running here in the U.S. And so part of the administration's effort is to cut through that and make it speedier and less risky to get new things up and running here.
Is it good policy, though, for the administration to take stakes in some of these companies, some of these small miners?
This is such a complex problem to solve for, and it's going to take many years. And so I think what we see is a government trying to recognize the problem, which I think is a very important first step. And then they're looking at the myriad of levers that they can pull to get the ball rolling here. Now, a fundamental lever has to be permitting reform, but you can see why they're looking to stimulate some of these investments through small equity stakes and so on as well.
But
at the end of the day, there's no silver bullet.
Do you want a government investment in BHP?
So BHP is big enough, and we start from the principled position of where we can do things on our own. We're willing to back ourselves, draw in private capital to get these things up and running. So we have, as BHP, we haven't been in a position of needing to go out there and secure these.
But is it frustrating to see your competitors getting these, I guess? Is it a place you think that the government should be involved because of the national security impacts of the country? Or is it a place you think the government should stay out of because they're not very good at picking winners? So
I would say we recognize that it's a reality of the world that we find ourselves in, where people have finally woken up to the need, the growing demand for some of these commodities, the risk that they don't come on in a timely fashion or for other reasons critical mineral supply chains get disrupted, and they're moving at pace to try to fill that gap or address that problem. And so I understand why the government here in the U.S., and you see the same thing happening in other countries around the world, are deploying the various measures that they have available to them. Of course, we would love to see a situation in which a company like BHP, with the reputation that we have, the capabilities and the balance sheet that we have, can progress projects faster and more sure-footedly than the competition.
So we have the demand side seems pretty firm, supplies challenged based on all the complexity, and then we have tariffs on top of that. So how does that collide with your business? So
yet another measure that you can see governments deploying to try to stimulate more inbound investment, in this case into the U.S., but the other governments will be deploying similar or alternative measures. Again, it's a reflection of the reality of the world today. One of the things that I've advocated for is that if tariffs are going to be put in place, the more that they can be done legislatively the more likely it is to translate into big new investments, because these investments are $5 billion, $10 billion, $15 billion, and you need certainty over an extended time frame. Now, I understand that that's easier said than done at times. I think the tariffs that have been put in place here have been symbolically significant, because they're representative of the level of support and focus that you see from the top on down currently in the U.S. administration to addressing this critical supply chain conundrum.
What's the current trajectory of China demand for resources? Every time I watch the price action, it's one of these stories that's like, well, it's China hoarding copper or gasoline or something.
No, look, you see strong underlying economic growth continuing in China. A little bit stronger in the first half, as tailed off a bit in the third quarter. But expectations are still that they're going to hit their 5% growth target for this year. And in particular, the segments of the economy that are performing well, infrastructure, for example, machinery, these are pretty metals intensive. So the underlying demand for steel, therefore iron ore, for copper, for building out some of the power infrastructure there, that demand remains very healthy in China.
And what about, we've been talking about gold.
Yes.
Obviously it's kind of quasi-money. It's not just a metal. But are you a participant in that area? Does it kind of change where people are putting capital to mine?
So gold is seen as a bit of a different segment in the mining sector than a company like BHP. We don't specifically chase after gold as a division within BHP or for growth. But as it happens, because gold is a byproduct of our copper production, we're a top 20 global gold producer. So it's a commodity that, of course, we pay attention to. The run-up in gold prices has benefited our copper assets because, of course, it boosts revenue there. But it's not a commodity that we've chosen specifically to grow on. Our growth commodities are copper and potash up in Canada. We're not currently a potash producer, but we're investing upwards of $12 billion currently in Canada to become one of the world's largest potash producers from 2027 onwards.
Got it. Mike, thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
To hear the story.
Thank you.
When we come back, the AI boom fueling demand for chips and infrastructure, and that has made NVIDIA the world's most valuable company. The CEO, Jensen Huang, is going to join us for a special interview. That is next, right here on Squawk Box. We'll be right back.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
I can't wait to see their faces when we come out.
What seems to be the problem, soldier?
The belly, sir. It's full of Greeks.
Sneaky cowards.
Innovation changes everything.
Send it back!
With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
When it's time to start your business, it's time for Shopify. Design with easy-to-customize themes. Sell everywhere people shop. And never miss a sale with the world's best converting checkout. See why millions of businesses sell with Shopify. Start your free trial today.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, you can simply arrive or make an entrance. Stick to the agenda or experience something unexpected. With IHG's 20 hotel brands, you can guest how you...
Wait, did we finally agree?
All the destinations to get the trip out of the group chat. That's what the world's biggest airline can do for you.
Winter is coming for your home, your heat, and your money. Get a jump on it now with the FlexSeal family of products. Seal out freezing cold drafts and moisture before winter hits. Be prepared for devastating damage like frozen pipes during the freeze. And then be repair ready after the thaw. Defend your home against winter. Get the FlexSeal family of products because it works.
Coast, and you're watching Squawk Box live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Becky Quick along with Mike Santoli. Joe and Andrew are off this morning. We've been watching the futures, and right now, ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street, you're going to see that at this point, it looks like the futures are up across the board. Dow futures up by triple digits at this point. The S&P futures up by 12. The NASDAQ up by close to 50 points. It does come after a slight pullback for the averages yesterday, but all three of the major averages less than 1% from their all-time highs at this point. Treasury yields have been a little bit weaker this morning. If you're checking out the complex, you'll see the 10-year right now is at 410. The 2-year at 356. And then if you check out crypto prices this morning, it looks like right now, Bitcoin is up by another 1%. 122,910. We're also watching gold, which traded above $4,000 an ounce for the first time yesterday, closed there for the first time yesterday at the close. It's up another 1.3% this morning to almost $4,060 an ounce. Global spending on AI is projected to reach nearly $1.5 trillion this year, and it could top $2 trillion in 2026. Joining us right now is one of, if not the key player that's been driving innovation in the field, Jensen Huang. He is the CEO of NVIDIA. It's got a market cap of $4.5 trillion, makes it the world's most valuable company. And Jensen, it is a pleasure to have you here on set.
So happy to be here. Nice to see you.
Not as happy as we are. Thank you for coming in today. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
There are so many things that I'd like to talk to you about because it seems like every day there is this huge fire hydrant of news that's all about AI. And your company is at the center of most of that news. So if you don't mind, maybe we can just run through some of these headlines and you can explain what's happening from your perspective.
I'd love to.
Okay, let's start with the deal that you cut first with OpenAI that you've talked a lot about, that was then followed up by this deal earlier this week with AMD and OpenAI. It's got a lot of people trying to figure out what the dynamics are of this industry. What do you think about it? Did you know about that deal before it was announced?
Not really, but our deal is very different than theirs. We've been working with OpenAI through Azure, Microsoft, and OCI, and CoreWeave, and so through third parties for quite a long time. In fact, in 2016, I delivered the world's very first AI supercomputer called DGX-1 to a startup, a nonprofit startup in San Francisco, and that company turned out to have been OpenAI. And so we've been working with them for quite a long time. The OpenAI partnership is an addition to what we're already doing with them on the cloud. All of the cloud contracts, we're going to continue to execute on all that. But our partnership with them is quite unique in the sense that this is the first time we're going to sell directly to them. Until now, we've been only selling through the clouds. And so we're going to keep doing that. But the thing that's really exciting is that now, by selling directly to them, we could help prepare them for a day when they're self-hosted hyperscaler. And our agreement basically entails us selling entire systems and infrastructure to them. We're the only company in the world today that really focuses on building the entire AI infrastructure, from CPUs to GPUs to networking chips and switches of all kinds and all the software stacks that go along with that. And so we're quite a unique partner for them to be able to do this.
I guess the question becomes, it's great for you to sell directly to them, but they don't have the money to buy it at this point. Is that why the deal was structured the way it is, where you'll get a stake in OpenAI over time?
They don't have the money yet. And the way that it's going to happen, for every gigawatt of AI factories, you're probably going to need about $50 to $60 billion for the land-powered shell and all the computing and networking and all that, everything that goes along with that. And they're going to have to raise that money through, first of all, their revenues, which is growing exponentially, equity or debt, and they gave us the opportunity to invest alongside other investors when the time comes. And so it's not something we have to do, but it's something that they're giving us the opportunity to do, and I would love to do. One of the things that we did, we invested in OpenAI early on. My only regret is that we didn't invest more. I mean, this is the most profitable, the most valuable startup company ever. And so this is a great opportunity.
You mentioned that your deal is very different from AMD's. AMD is in a situation where they're basically giving away a big chunk of their company to be able to be a partner with OpenAI and sell them some of their goods. Is that how you read it?
Yeah, I saw the deal. It's imaginative. It's unique and surprising. Considering they were so excited about their next generation product, I'm surprised that they would give away 10% of the company before they even built it. And so, anyhow, it's clever, I guess.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing. And Lisa Su, who, by the way, is a distant cousin of yours,
yeah,
right?
she's terrific.
At EAMD.
Yeah, she's terrific.
The way they've set this up, though, of giving it away, they're also making some big assumptions that their chips are going to be able to compete with your chips that are coming out down the road. Do you think that's the case?
Well, you know, our chips are quite special, and we're running really fast. We're the only company in the world today that builds all of the chips inside an AI infrastructure. And today, back when we first started, 5 years ago even, an Ampere chip or a Hopper chip is just one chip. Today, if you want to build one of these AI supercomputers, it takes a whole bunch of different types of chips to get the performance out of it because, you know, Moore's Law, the transistor itself is really slowing down. And we want to create those X factors of performance increase every single year. And we're delivering these new systems every single year. And every year it's multiple times faster than the last generation. In order for us to do that, we have to optimize the entire AI infrastructure. That supercomputer is the most complex computer the world's ever made, and we optimize across all of that, design new chips every year. So one chip alone is not probably going to be able to deliver the type of results we do. And but anyways, they're a really good company, and we take them very seriously, and we're just going to have to keep running fast.
Let's talk about vendor financing, because that has been something that has raised a lot of questions on Wall Street since you cut this deal with OpenAI. Yesterday, Bloomberg is reporting that you have a $2 billion in financing that you're going to be involved with XAI to help them with these same stories. But this idea of circular financing, your customers can't afford to buy these chips yet, so you're going to help them out with money along the way. That leads some people to think back to what happened with companies during the big buildup like a Lucent or a Nortel in the early days. Is this different, and if so, how?
Well, first of all, XAI, I'm super excited about the financing opportunity that they're doing. You know, the only regret I have about XAI, we're an investor already. The only regret I have is I didn't give him more money. You know, almost everything that Elon's part of, you really want to be part of as well. And he gave us the opportunity to invest in XAI. I'm just delighted by that. And so that's an investment into a really great future company, and I'm really excited about that. That's not vendor financing per se. But what's going on in the world versus what happened in 2000 is just dramatically different. You know, back then, as you recall, there were pets.com, hospitals.com, and all of the internet companies combined was, what, $30, $40 billion in size? If you look at the hyperscalers now, that's where the first tranche of AI infrastructure is building. If you look at the hyperscalers, at about $2.5 trillion of business that's already operating today. That business, that $2.5 trillion business, and the CapEx that goes underneath that is about, call it $500 billion. That transition from a classical CPU-based computing to now generative AI computing powered by GPUs, that transition is just starting. So we've got to build into $500 billion worth of capacity infrastructure that's already naturally growing by itself, and we're in the beginning phases of that. If you just look at NVIDIA's AI infrastructure business, you know, call it a couple of $100 billion so far, we're a couple of $100 billion into a multi-trillion-dollar build-out. So that's number one. The second part of it that's really unique is that we have a new generation of AI companies. The new AI companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and XAI and companies that are well, you know, Thinking Machine Labs from Mira and Ilya Sutskever's SSI and Misha's company Reflection. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of amazing AI model builders now. This generation of AI model builders, what's happened in the last several months, a transition happened that is really, really important. For the last several years, they've been generating tokens, you know, these AI tokens, basically at a loss. And the reason for that is because the early AI models they were super interesting, really captivated a lot of attention, but they weren't useful enough to pay for. The last several months has been very clear that the new technology is now reasoning, it's doing research, before it answers a question, it goes on the web and studies other PDFs and websites. It can now use tools, generate information for you, and it creates responses that are really useful. I use it every day, to the point where now the tokens are profitable.
Order submitted.
The question, though, is who is going to continue to pay for that build-out? Is it the big companies like a Procter & Gamble? Is it consumers who are going to do this? I mean, my doctor showed me the AI that he's using, and it's incredibly helpful, but there's still a question about whether he's going to pay for it or the company he works for is going to pay for it.
Well, hopefully both. I think there's the consumer part of it. You know, a lot of OpenAI customers are consumers, and they're paying for it. But the thing that's really cool is that the enterprise AI build-out that's happening now, my favorite enterprise AI service is Cursor. Cursor is an AI coder. And every one of our engineers, 100%, is now assisted by AI coders, and our productivity has gone up incredibly. And so you're now seeing enterprise AI companies like Cursor, Open Evidence, I love Lovable. All of these companies are some of the fastest growing companies in the world, and they address enterprise. And so enterprise AI is here.
I wonder how you think about, Jensen, the ultimate destination where all this is actually building toward. I don't know, there was a post from David Connie, a Sequoia partner, this week saying, look, AGI is the only thing that can justify the volumes of capital spending right now, artificial general intelligence. At the same time, many of the model builders and experts are pushing out the date where that maybe is going to be achievable. Meantime, you're talking about annual generations of chips. How fast do they depreciate? We're putting all this capital in these data centers that it's just not clear, like, when we get to the end, or is it just a treadmill?
We are going to have incredibly profitable and incredibly useful AIs long before AGI. And for example, right now, Cursor AI. You know, Cursor's AI software coder is incredibly useful. All of our engineers use it. We have some 40,000 engineers. Almost every one of them are going to use it, and they're loving it. And so
they're using it instead of something else, presumably, right? So these are displacing things.
Yeah, they're not. This is a brand new thing.
Yeah.
Remember, AI, unlike previous technologies are tools that humans use. Excel is a tool that humans use. A web browser is a tool that humans use. For the very first time, we have technology that can actually use tools by itself. And so Cursor uses, Visual C++, and now we have Gemini agents that are able to use the browser and browse for groceries or destinations or book travel for you, and it can use tools by itself. So this is really quite an extraordinary thing. This tool users, the tool industry is a few $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Tool user industry is $100 trillion, which is the reason why everybody's so excited about the future of technology, because it could augment labor, it can increase the productivity of labor, and here at NVIDIA, it's increased our productivity tremendously.
You've already said you wish you could have bought more OpenAI and maybe invested more in XAI at this point. That implies that you don't think that this is all redundant. Because a lot of the players, I mean, if I read what Sam Altman says and the message he tries to convey, it's as if they're sprinting to try to stay ahead of everybody else because they think it's not going to be room for everybody necessarily who's trying to do something similar.
I think there's general intelligence, and I think there's specialized intelligence.
Yeah.
We love when I hire engineers, I like them to be generally intelligent. And that's a great thing. But once they come to NVIDIA, we make them highly specialized intelligent so that they could build things that NVIDIA needs. And so I think the idea of specialized intelligence versus generalized intelligence will continue to happen. And where the real value for enterprises and companies is specialized intelligence. And where the value for consumers, general intelligence.
Hey, Jensen, let's talk a little bit about capital allocation and how you see that. Just back to those same points, that you wish you had more invested in OpenAI, you wish you had more invested in these other companies that you're kind of taking stakes in, like an XAI. You can do things with your money. You can choose to put it back into R&D. You probably don't need a ton with that right now. You can choose to build the company. You can choose to make acquisitions. You can choose to give shareholders back big dividends, or you can invest it yourself in other companies. And lately, what we've seen is a lot of investing in other companies. Do you have other deals like that planned in the works?
We're always looking for great startups to invest in. One of my favorite ones was CoreWeave.
Right.
My only regret is I didn't invest
Add that to the list.
enough. Yeah. And so in all of these investments that we've made recently, we've made some really terrific investments, and largely my only regret is that we didn't invest more, because these are really special companies, and they're part of our ecosystem, building out the AI infrastructure for the world. And AI is several things. AI is energy, AI is chips, the models, and the applications. And so you could see NVIDIA, and you could look at me working across that entire stack of ecosystems around the world. And we need more energy, we need more chips, we need better models and more models, and we need a lot more applications.
So what of your cash flow that you kick off, and Mike, I knew you ran the numbers, what is it?
I was just looking at the consensus, like 240 billion in free cash flow this fiscal year and next is what is.
So that's a lot of cash that you can choose to set to work. Do you look for other investments within the AI infrastructure? Do you look for ways to build out extra energy? Do you look for somebody in quantum computing to get to the next thing that you could buy? What's in your brain at this point?
All of that. I'm excited about enterprise AI applications, and if I would have realized that the Cursor team was raising money before, I would have given them all my money. And so this is really terrific stuff. I'm excited about the work that Open Evidence is doing in helping digital nurses and digital with diagnosis. I'm excited about the work that Figure is doing in robotics. Wave is doing in self-driving cars. Wabi is doing in self-driving cars. And so there's just an incredibly large set of new companies that are enabled by this revolutionary technology called AI. And so these new companies are going to be future giants, and it would be great to be part of them, support their growth, and be part of that journey.
There was an analyst who was on our program earlier this week, maybe it was late last week, who said after the OpenAI deal, they wondered how long it would take for the antitrust authorities to come looking at NVIDIA. I didn't quite understand that, dug into it a little bit. Reuters has put out something just saying that as all these big giants in the AI development world kind of team up and partner, it does raise questions about whether it shuts out new entrants. What's your response to that? What do you say?
All of these deals have to be done in a way that is fair to others, doesn't foreclose markets, and is not exclusive. And so the investment that we make in OpenAI, we don't make it a requirement that they use that investment to buy NVIDIA's technology. They could use it to do anything they like.
And maybe the AMD deal that came just on the heels of that kind of proves that out, that it is not a single partnership that works on some of these things.
There are no exclusivities. The goal is to advance the AI infrastructure, support their success, and in many of these cases, to be part of that incredible journey for us. And it's great returns on our money, of course, but our primary goal is just really to support them and help them grow the AI ecosystem.
Again, you were surprised by the AMD deal, but you look at it very differently. Do you think as a competitive structure here, this puts like any pressure on anything that comes through?
I don't think it has really anything to do with it won't affect anything that we do. I think our primary focus, our strategy number one, is to create a platform that increases performance, or another way of thinking about it, reduces token generation cost by very significant margins every single year. Now, of course, that pace of innovation puts pressure on the entire industry, all of our competitors and so on. But everybody benefits when we drive the cost of tokens down every single year. Between Blackwell and Hopper, we're going to drive down the cost of tokens 10 to 20 times. And so that's Moore's law, transistors alone would have driven it down by 20%. So instead of 20%, it's 20 times. And we're going to do that again and again and again every single year. We could do it because we change every single chip in the data center. We change every single technology all at once. And so my focus and the company's focus is just to keep that pace going. And when we keep that pace going, the ecosystem around us, when the token generation continues to decrease, the AIs get smarter. And when the AIs get smarter, we can use it for more applications, and we can drive more productivity into the economy grows, everything gets better.
When the AIs do get smarter, is that going to mark a transition away from just the hyper-intensive physical capital building part of this, where hardware is the entire, the entire game in a sense, right? I mean, it's an interesting thing when I look at how the Metas and the Microsofts and the Alphabets were looked at a few years ago. Oh, they're asset light. They don't have to reinvest in their businesses. They have massive free cash flow. And now it's about actually creating physical assets that are going to be productive down the road. Do we get to a point where it's like, now we reap?
No. And the reason for that is because forever, AI is going to be about thinking. And in order to think in real time, to understand the question, understand the context, maybe go do some reading and research on the internet, that thinking process requires a computer. That's the reason why I say there's a new industry. We've created a brand new industry called AI infrastructure. And these infrastructures will be like the electricity infrastructure, the internet infrastructure, and this will be permanent infrastructure for society, every society. And so this is a transformative time. And the way we deliver computers in the future, the way we deliver intelligence and produce intelligence is fundamentally different. The thing that you mentioned, which is really interesting, is when you look across the stack, when I said earlier, AI is energy, it's chips, it's infrastructure, it's AI models, and it's AI application. And in just one conversation, we've already identified that energy industry is growing. The chips industry, for example, us, we're growing. Infrastructure, Azure, OCI, AWS, CoreWeave, Nebius, these incredible companies, they're growing. AI models, OpenAI, Anthropic, X, they're growing. And on top of that, AI applications, Cursor, OpenEvidence, isn't that right? We're literally seeing a complete revolution across that entire stack and opportunities across it. And to the extent that we have the financial capacity to do so and to be part of this entire stack, we're going to participate across that entire stack.
Jensen, you're not only looking at technological advances and thinking about how to do that, how to build this infrastructure, you have to be thinking about risks all the time, too.
Yeah.
What's at the top of your list in terms of risk assessments when you're looking at these things that pose a risk, pose a threat to the growth that you're talking about?
Well, there's a lot of technology risk, and there's a lot of, product design risk. There's a lot of those kind of things. But those kind of things are things we're good at.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, our company is good at building technology and building products, and so we're good at those things, and we'll continue to be careful and thoughtful about doing those things. The things that are hard for us, that are new for us, is geopolitical risk.
Yeah.
And it's out of our control, and the best thing that we could do is just inform policymakers and governments about the nature of AI, why it's different than previous technologies, to be accessible to them, to be informative to them, and then help them shape policies that are in the best interest of the world, the best interest of the countries.
So how far ahead of China do you think we are in terms of AI development at this point? How close?
Depending on which layer of the stack, but overall, I would say we're not far ahead. If you look at the entire stack, they're way ahead on energy. I am so happy that President Trump leaned into pro-growth, pro-energy growth, so that an entire industry above it could grow. If you could just imagine, without President Trump's pro-energy policy, that entire layer above the energy would have been constrained. China's well ahead of us on energy. We are way ahead on chips. They're right there on infrastructure. They're right there on AI models. Our models are better overall. OpenAI's is better, Anthropic's is better, Gemini's better. However, their open source models are well ahead of us. And then on the application layer, we have to be quite mindful because their applications are very fast moving. Their society is very quick in adopting new technology. They're under-regulated they don't regulate heavily at the industrial level. And so the applications in China are advancing incredibly fast. This is an area that I'm quite concerned about. I hope that American companies and American society are going to be fast in adopting AI applications, because ultimately this industrial revolution wins at the AI application layer, at the diffusion layer.
There was an analyst just this week who said that he's anticipating China will get NVIDIA's Blackwell chips by as early as next year. Do you think that's the case? If we are way ahead of them in chips, what should our strategy be to give them better chips, or risk having them build their own chips that are better? But if we hold the advantage here, how do we, as Americans, think about this?
That's right. This is where a nuanced strategy is necessary. And we have to take a step back. President Trump had a AI Action Plan Day. And that AI Action Plan Day, he was very clear, and it's a very thoughtful and very America win around the world strategy. Ultimately, he wants America to win the AI race. So the question, when you take a step back and ask yourself, what does that mean? At the chip level, you want to have the most advanced chips. We want to make sure that the United States and American allies have the most advanced access to the most advanced AI chips. On the other hand, in order to win the AI race, you need to have all of the world's AI developers to be building on your platform. Just as we would, if you're an app store, you would like all of the apps to run on your app store. If you're an operating system, you would like all the world's applications to run on your operating system. If you were a chip, an American tech stack, you want all of the world's AI developers to developing on your American tech stack. That's true whether we're here in the United States or whether it's developers in China.
But
so this
from a defense
nuance,
perspective, we don't want them having the chips that are as great as we are, because we don't want them having access to that, particularly when it comes to the military.
No government, surely Chinese government, is going to be building their defense on Western technology. Nor does the Pentagon use Chinese chips to build our national security. And so they have plenty of chips themselves. Don't forget that this is a country not without any chips. They have Huawei. They have really, really sophisticated and really entrepreneurial startups building AI chips. They're manufacturing lots of chips. And so the fact of the matter is their military has plenty of access to their own chips. What we need to do is find a nuanced strategy that allows the United States to stay ahead, but for American tech stacks to be used all over the world so that the world builds on the American standard.
Are we on the way to being that global standard? I mean, you keep hearing about sovereign AI, and it seems as if there are these interests in creating parallel kind of AI ecosystems.
If we don't win around the world, someone else, if we preclude other people from building on the American tech stack, they'll have to use some other stack. I think David Sachs had a really simple KPI. He said, in 5 years' time, if the American tech stack is 80% of the world, then we are doing a good job winning the AI race. If the United States is 20% of the world, then we've lost the AI race. Now, one of the things that's really important is that developers are all over the world. 50% of the world's AI researchers are in China. China is 30% of the technology industry, technology market. The Chinese market is large. They've got 1 billion users. And so it's not a market that you could easily decide to walk away from if your ultimate goal is for America to win the AI race. Giving up 30% of the world's market right from the get-go, and then not allowing American technologies to diffuse and be proliferated around the world, we are essentially isolating American technology into America and forfeiting and conceding the rest of the world to everybody else. And I think President Trump would say that that would be not a condition for America to win the AI race. And so we have to find a nuanced strategy that allows America to have the best technology, earliest technology, but also to win AI developers around the world and win AI markets around the world.
I think you also want to be bringing in and working with the best talent. And to that point, you put out a memo to your employees yesterday about the H-1B visas and the new government requirement that it's going to cost $100,000 on top of it to bring someone in from China or from India or from elsewhere. What is your policy with that? What do you think of this new step in it? I know you've said that you're going to step up and go ahead and pay those to bring people in.
Immigration, I'm an immigrant. Immigration and
we're very glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Immigration is the foundation of the American dream. This ideal that anyone can come to America and through hard work and some talent be able to build a better future for yourself. My parents came here because of the American dream and wanting us to be able to enjoy the opportunities and this incredible country that is America. And I think this ideal And this dream is common around the world. Only America has a phrase that says the American dream. There's no other country that has something other, some other country's dream. And so we would like to create this opportunity for all of our employees, and I hope that this opportunity persists for everybody else. I do think that President Trump's H-1B policy enables us to continue to attract the world's best talent and enable them to come to American companies. And for all of these foreign students who come to the United States, gets an incredible American degree and one of the best educations in the world, to create the conditions by which we can have them stay. I think it's a first step. There are things that I would love to see that enhances the policy, so that there's still some opportunities for serendipity to happen. For example, I don't think that my family would have been able to afford the $100,000, and so the opportunity for my family and for me to be here would not have been possible with this current policy. And so I'm hoping that there will be enhancements to it. And I think this is just a first step, and President Trump is always pragmatic, and I think that it'll be enhanced over time. But this is a nice improvement.
We mentioned, just quickly, $4.5 trillion market cap. Your employees created that value and are also beneficiaries of that value. How do you run a business and maintain a culture when so many of your employees have done so well financially, and keep them motivated and such?
Yeah, half of your employees have a net worth of more than $1 million, and I think 75% are over $1 million. Half of them are over $25 million in net worth.
Yeah, and I'm so happy about that. I get so many emails with them, people saying, I just bought a house, or I just bought my parents a house, or put my kids through school, and I just love that. The way you do that is to stay focused on the purpose of the company, the important work that we're doing. Ultimately, my job is to create the conditions by which amazing people could do their life's work. And as it turns out, for most people who are doing their life's work, the money is a symptom of doing that work well. It's not the purpose of the work. And so long as the purpose of the work remains the same, for me, for example, I've been working hard for a long time, and it's been a long time since I've had to work, but I love the opportunity to be able to do work, and the company's in a place now where the work that we do could be really quite consequential for the world. We've been building impactful technology that could revolutionize and transform just about every industry and every society. And so this is a time that none of us want to give up on. And so this is such a great opportunity for us.
Can I ask you quickly about electricity? We've mentioned that several times. There was a Bloomberg report just in the last week or so that just said wholesale electricity prices are up by as much as 267% in areas that are near new data centers that have been built, that those costs are getting passed on to average consumers. First of all, do you think that's true? And second of all, what do we do about it?
I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure if it's true or not. But what we should do about it is to invest in power generation behind the meter. And President Trump has really created the conditions by which we could go and do that and all become power generation companies ourselves. And so these data centers should be outfitted with power generation capabilities, whether it's natural gas or in the future, several years from now, nuclear. We should invest in just about every possible way of generating energy, and then even put it back onto the grid. And so that's the future. And data center self-generated power could move a lot faster than putting it on the grid, and we have to do that. We have to apply every possible form.
Jensen, anything you wanted to talk about that you feel like you haven't gotten the chance to talk about? You get people asking you questions all the time. What do you not get to talk about?
Well, let's see. What do
investors most want to know from you, I guess?
Question.
Investors. I would say the thing that is even quite surprising this year, particularly the last 6 months, demand of computing has gone up substantially. And this is what's happened. Because AI went from simple one-shot answers to these reasoning and thinking AI, the results are so good, but it uses exponential amounts of computing. But the interesting thing is, because they're so good, because they're so smart, and they use exponential amounts of computing, we're seeing exponential demand, which makes sense because the AIs are smart enough that everybody wants to use it. And so we now have two exponentials happening at the same time. Demand for Blackwell is really, really high, and we're working hard to get everybody online and get AI to the next level. But I think we're at the beginning of a new build-out, beginning of a new industrial revolution, and it's going to be exciting times.
Jensen, we want to thank you very much for being with us this morning and being on set. It's really great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, coming up, conflicting cross currents for the outlook on inflation. Squawk Box, be right back.
Goldman Sachs active ETFs, designed to deliver outcomes driven by more than 150 years of rigor. Not just active, relentless.
For plant-based, healthy blood pressure support, there's one brand at Amazon that stands above the rest. It's SuperBeets by Human, the #1 doctor, pharmacist, and cardiologist recommended beet brand for heart health support. Search for SuperBeets Heart Chews on Amazon.
If there's one thing I've learned over 3 decades of investing, it's this. What you don't own matters just as much as what you do. That's why I've always been drawn to the idea of upgrading your portfolio, replacing overhyped or outdated names with stronger, lesser-known opportunities. It's the thinking behind a strategy I've come to rely on, one I call sell this, buy that. I'm Eric Fry, and as a stock analyst, author, and futurist, I've shown my followers how to move out of big-name, well-loved stocks that are on the verge of melting down and into ones with the potential to deliver serious upside. It's the strategy that helped me win the Portfolios with Purpose investing competition, beating out some of the most respected names on Wall Street and outperforming the market by more than tenfold. And it's the same kind of thinking that's helped me build a long-term track record, including 41 recommendations that have gone on to return 1,000% or more. I've put together a brand new free presentation where I walk through some of my latest sell this, buy that pair trades. These calls are a little contrarian, I'll be the first to admit that. But if you're open to viewing the markets through a different lens, here's a quick preview of what you'll see I'm recommending today when you visit the website right here on your screen. Sell Amazon. Buy a little-known e-commerce company that's much like buying Amazon in 2005. Sell Bank of America. Buy an online fintech platform that's capturing an entirely new generation of banking customers. Sell Tesla. Buy a little-known and analysis waiting for you at no cost.
Start streaming. Go to cnbc.com/plus now.
The CNBC CEO councils are always on my calendar. I love the diversity of industries and sectors that are represented.
We got together to talk about where our business goals align. There was just every possible win in this partnership.
It's an opportunity to learn something new and get really honest feedback from peers who are experiencing the same exact thing you are.
That's the magic of not just CNBC and this CEO Council. It's how you create change in the world.
Explore CNBC Council memberships today.
Some conflicting cross currents about the outlook for inflation, the economy, and the Fed in the markets this morning. Steve Leisman joins us with more. Steve.
Hey, Mike, yeah, call it the DAT trade, or short for the dollar alternative trade. And it's been on a roll, offering a different view of the inflation outlook and what the Fed ought to be doing here. Something to watch, importantly, in the absence of government data. First, let's look at the Fed funds probabilities. They fully priced in a rate cut in October and pretty much in December. Fed is then seen taking a break and cutting again in March or April. 100 more basis points of rate cuts built in over the next 12 months. The Fed seems fully committed to cutting to counter the weakness in the job market, focusing less on inflation, running a persistent percentage point above its 2% target. But the DAT trade, it's sending a different message. Gold has surged daily to one all-time high after another. Bitcoin, though it's off its all-time high of 126 from yesterday, remains at elevated levels. An analyst at Capital.com writes, the medium-term case for bullion still leans positive. Tolerance for above-target inflation, swelling public deficits, ongoing de-risking in FX reserves, and a dense geopolitical calendar suggests pullbacks may remain shallow. At the same time, the dollar weakened through April, stabilized at this level, even strengthening of late because of developments in Europe and especially in Japan. The DAT trade could be momentum, could also be a different take on the economic fundamentals, showing concern the combination of loosening Fed policy, U.S. tariffs, and high deficits means more inflation, ultimately a weaker dollar. Mike, I'm guessing you and my colleague Rick Santelli might have some thoughts on this matter.
For sure, and let's bring in Rick Santelli at the CME. And Rick, I guess a couple of quick observations. One, gold's up in pretty much every currency. And talking about whether the dollar is strong, weak, or otherwise, probably it kind of depends on the starting point that you address.
Oh, absolutely. The starting point is key, because if you look at the area of 100 on the dollar index and you look at how we've traded in relationship to that level prior to COVID, you'll see it was an oddity to spend a whole lot of time above 100. So basically from late 2019, early 2020 to about a year and a half ago, the dollar was probably overvalued. And I think we're getting back to sense reality. Add in the mystique, the uncertainty, the different outlook for all the crypto and all the new types of coins that are out there. And I don't think it's very shocking that we're splitting the demand, and in many ways more than splitting, into some of these new areas. What doesn't really add up to me is that if we make this an inflation story, and believe me, nobody is more sensitive to the notion of debt and deficits and the potential for inflation, especially in a government that's running such big deficits with such big lofty plans on ongoing spending. But the inflation isn't showing up in the interest rate complex. We're sticky on the long maturities for sure. The low yield close for the whole year is 4%. But if gold's main force was a nervousness about inflation, I think it would be more reflective and more of a correlation with what's going on in the interest rate complex. And I think we would have a much steeper yield curve. Listen, don't get me wrong on gold. I think, whether it was 1979 to 1981 with the precious metals or the silver craze, I think precious metals have always had this kind of jump on the bandwagon effect. And I think when you add in Bitcoin and the uncertainty with tariffs and the uncertain outlook with currencies in general as we move into this kind of token world, none of it is very shocking. I also wouldn't be shocked to see gold give a good chunk of this back down the road along with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I get it's also interesting. I mean, Steve, you're talking about what message gold is sending has always been so tricky. When we had the big inflationary surge in 21, 22, into 23, gold really wasn't doing much of anything. In fact, kind of going sideways. It was capped at 2,000.
No, it wasn't. And just for the record, I left out the interest rate part of the story, which is a big weakness of the story, because I knew my friend Rick would provide it to us. He's absolutely right that if there was a big inflation concern, it should be showing up. It did for a while, as well as concern about volume. Remember, we were all concerned about that. That's not there. But it does remain the fact that both Bitcoin and gold seem to be going up together. And this could be a choice, Mike, to answer your question about why it's happening in all currencies. It could be a choice of central banks around the world choosing gold reserves over dollar reserves. This is something that's going to happen. If we pull back on trade, one of the obligations that we have, I know people hate it, but one of the obligations, or some people hate it, we have as being the reserve currency is to provide dollars to the world. If we pull back on the amount of trade that we're doing, if that...
Which, by the way, I guess if that became an issue, would probably also show up in treasuries before most other markets would get to it. For now, Steve and Rick, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next, stocks on the move ahead of the opening bell. And then Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management joins us with some reaction to our interview with NVIDIA's Jensen Huang and thoughts on big tech. Squawk Box will be right back.
When cyber threats target the world's data, seconds matter. That's why the world's most trusted brands depend on ReliaQuest Gray Matter to contain threats in seconds. It's the only technology-independent, AI-driven platform built by security operators for security operators. ReliaQuest. Make security possible.
Some people like doing things the hard way, like doing their finances with a spreadsheet instead of using Quicken. Quicken pulls all your financial info together in one place and updates it automatically. How easy is that?
When my hair started thinning, I didn't want to hear the wisecracks.
I was ignoring my hair because I was a full-time working mother, but luckily I found Nutrafol.
My hair was getting stronger and thicker.
I finally feel like myself again.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
Do you care where the economy is headed? What about elections? Or climate change? See the forecast consensus on our future at IBKR Forecast Trader. If you disagree, you can buy the contract that looks undervalued. But be careful. You must be right more than 50.5% of the time to win. Go to IBKR Forecast Trader.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart.
From recognizing our teachers to supporting schools across our state, HEB loves helping our youngest Lone Stars shine bright. Proud supporters of Texas teachers and schools.
Space that adapts. Clarity that keeps you focused. And style that grabs hold. Welcome to the Genesis GV80. Get the GV80 for 2.99% APR for 60 months. Exclusively at your DFW Genesis retailer.
Couple of stocks to watch ahead of the opening bell. Tesla in the spotlight this morning after a more than 4% drop yesterday. The EV maker debuted more affordable versions of its Model Y and Model 3 cars. Analysts viewed the move as disappointing, hoping for new models like the long-awaited Roadster, and noting the new price doesn't make up for expired tax credits worth up to $7,500. The shares looking to bounce modestly up about 0.8% right now. And FedEx downgraded to neutral from overweight at JP Morgan. The analyst there noting concerns about the cost of separating its freight business, profitability in Europe, and increased competition. The new price target goes to $247 from $284. The shares down 2% at just over $237. Up next, reaction to our interview with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. And as we head to a break, check on shares of Dell, rising about 1.6%. 3% yesterday after the company increased its long-term revenue and profit growth outlook. Dell's AI servers are powered by NVIDIA's Blackwell Ultra chips, and the shares Dell up 1.6% this morning. Squawk Box will be right back.
I'm Tony Steen, digital strategist at AmericanEagle.com. After Kansas City Steaks experienced declining traffic and conversion rates, they came to us primed for online growth. We solve digital challenges like this all the time. By leveraging an omni-channel digital marketing strategy, KansasCitySteaks.com attracted new customers and significantly increased ROI. For complete website and digital marketing solutions, go to AmericanEagle.com.
Searching for the perfect underwear? Tommy John combines innovation and excellence in every pair. Available in multi-packs, Tommy John's breathable second skin underwear is even softer than cotton, with up to 4 times the stretch of competing brands. We've also crafted indulgently soft second skin sleepwear for luxurious evenings and mornings. Invest in your comfort worry-free. If you don't love your first purchase, we'll make it right. Because if you dress to the nines, your underwear should be a 10. Go to TommyJohn.com now for 20% off your first order.
When you're actively trading, the fees really start to add up. Public is the only platform that offers rebates on your option trades, which help offset those costs. It's a simple way to help me keep more of what I earn.
Shimmering, that's the golden lady.
At the Farmer's Dog, our fresh food plans give dogs good health and great hair.
Silver is at a 10-year high. Kootenai Silver boasts one of the largest resources owned by a junior company. With the new high-grade discovery in Mexico, the potential for growth and leverage to silver is significant. Kootenai Silver.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
The CNBC CEO councils are always on my calendar. I love the diversity of industries and sectors that are represented.
We got together to talk about where our business goals align. There was just every possible win in this partnership.
It's an opportunity to learn something new and get really honest feedback from peers who are experiencing the same exact thing you are.
That's the magic of not just CNBC and this CEO council. It's how you create change in the world.
Explore CNBC Council memberships today.
The energy industry is growing. The chips industry, for example, us, we're growing. Infrastructure, Azure, OCI, AWS, CoreWeave, Nebius, these incredible companies, they're growing. AI models, OpenAI, Anthropic, X, they're growing. And on top of that, AI applications, Cursor, OpenEvidence, isn't that right? We're literally seeing a complete revolution across that entire stack and opportunities across it. And to the extent that we have the financial capacity to do so and to be part of this entire stack, we're going to participate across that entire stack.
That was Jensen Huang just a few moments ago, right here on Squawk Box. Joining us now, Gene Munster, Deepwater Asset Management Managing Partner. Gene, let's just pick up right there from where Jensen left off in that clip. He says, as long as we have the ability financially to participate, we will. I mean, they're doing a lot more than participate. Arguably, NVIDIA's financial resources are the accelerant, and they're kind of seeding the whole ecosystem, keeping it going. Seems unconcerned about a lot of these overlapping relationships. How do you read it?
Well, I mean, it's such a great wide-ranging interview, and I think the first thing that I read into this is that concept of seeding, like you said, is that there's two tracks that go through my mind as I kind of digest what was said. One is, what's his bottom line message? And second, what's new? And on the bottom line message, back to this seeding idea and those four kind of pillars, the energy, the models, the application layers, those pieces are still so early. What he's essentially saying is that we are far from any sort of bubble burst. I think at the most basic and highest level, that was his message. Of course, he's motivated to say that, his world's most valuable company that is dependent on this to continue, but that was his kind of central message. And I want to kind of zero in on that seeding piece, is that from that perspective, when we think about what they're doing to kind of keep the momentum going, that could be concerning to some investors. If somehow that slows down at any level, then the whole kind of flywheel slows. But there's another way to look at it, is seeding implies how early we are, in fact. And so I think that, my sense is that you're going to look at his remarks based on your
Good morning.
skepticism around
So, bought a short on NQ. Gold is it's crazy. Let me see when bot was long on gold. Bot was long on gold 5 days ago, up 160 points. Wow.
And lots of room to go for the AI trade.
I guess the pushback somebody might offer to a lot of that is, if we're so early, why is the industry kind of outgrowing its sort of innate capital resources at this stage, right? A lot more of the data center construction is by debt. XAI's raise is reportedly more than half debt. NVIDIA itself has to kind of recycle its profits back to create demand for its products. So I guess that would be the issue. If it's so early, we're sort of running out of
Yeah, you can't be spamming chat nonstop, dude. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Debt piece is something that's new, but just to kind of give a sense, at Deepwater, we invest in both public and private companies, and invested recently in this OpenAI, this tender offer, and that was incredibly difficult. The amount of demand outsized the supply by probably a 2x factor. X goes and raises. I mean, nice endorsement that Jensen gave to Elon on the interview, and they're going to be able to raise. And so I think the capital is ultimately there. And I think one other like something new that Jensen said kind of to that point is he said that there's going to be I'm going to quote him here.
He was spamming to get points.
That are going to be future giants. If that's the case, then there's a
Yeah, we don't do that. That's not even cool.
I think there's many that investors believe that. I think that they will have the capital to continue to kind of fund this breathtaking growth.
Yeah, I mean, the belief certainly does seem to be there still. Gene, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
In. All right.
Up next, we've got to check on the markets. Squawk Box. We'll be right back.
Market conditions can test an investment. So at Federated Hermes, we stocks in our MDT portfolios through a ruthless vetting process because we want them to work, come rain or come shine.
In a world of conformity, it's often the innovative that stand out. At FlexJet, we've built a state-of-the-art operations control center with an international fleet of private jets and helicopters. Our red label crews are leading the way in pilot compensation, all supported by one of the world's largest maintenance networks.
See what you did, me love? You fucked it up. You got muted because of you.
2-1. At FlexJet, you won't just be flown, you'll be moved.
You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy.
I get timed out too.
You're serious about investing, right?
The connected world is crazy. Infrastructure without any structure. Hackers. Vendors on vendors on vendors. Workers everywhere. But Cloudflare takes care
That's too funny.
protecting workers, consolidating vendors, delivering AI apps, all on an intelligent global network that fights the crazy. So you can stay calm.
CNBC's Changemakers 2026 list, spotlighting women who innovate, lead boldly, and are transforming business. Do you know someone who is rewriting the future? Nominate them now at cnbc.com/changemaker.
The job search. It's so impersonal. Sometimes all you feel like is a walking resume. And the jobs you do find are just bad fit after bad fit. What's this? Indeed.
Me love can't reply back. Got muted.
Can it find jobs tailored to you? And help you get seen for all your skills? Well, the future of job searching has arrived. Try it at Indeed.com/careerscout.
At Marshall's, our buyers hustle 24/7, so you never have to compromise on quality or price. Who said expensive taste had to be that expensive?
I'm impressed. Let's talk numbers.
We get the deals, you get the good stuff.
This is a meal. The melty ciabatta dippers, so delicious they have you dipping in sync meal.
Wait.
The fan favorite ciabatta dippers are back. It just feels good at.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get to Dom, too. He's got a look at this morning's pre-market movers. Dom, what's on your radar today?
All right, so Becky, Mike, we're going to start off with a check of AST Space Mobile, also Verizon. AST surging 14% after announcing that big agreement with Verizon to support space-based broadband across the continental U.S. With Verizon cell phones connecting directly to AST's network when needed. That agreement expands.
Dang, gold's going back up.
Carriers announced back in 2024.
Yeah, looks like it.
Verizon shares right now up about 0.5%. Moving on to Intel, those shares are slipping slightly after HSBC downgraded the stock to a reduce from hold. On the other hand, HSBC increased the target price.
Yeah, it's
to
Wednesday.
$21
We got
and
2 more days.
That's an implied downside of roughly 35% from yesterday's close. Analysts note that recent deals are driving the stock short term, but Intel's own fab execution is key to any sustainable turnaround. Those shares are up 84% so far this year. Continuing on with BMW, those shares driving down by about 6% in the trade so far in German trading after it lowered its profit forecast for the full year. BMW citing low volume growth in China and tariffs from the Trump administration for the adjustment. Those shares, you can see they're up about 3.5% year to date. And we'll finish off with gold on pace for its 4th straight day higher, its 8th straight weekly gain. Futures surpassed that $4,000 mark for the first time ever yesterday. Gold's up now more than 53% so far this year. So keep an eye on that trade. Becky, I'll send things back over to you.
Okay, Dom, thank you very much. Again, we've been watching the futures, and we are in the green this morning after yesterday's declines. Dow futures up by 113, NASDAQ up by 20, the S&P up by 9. That does it for us today. Mike Santoli, thank you for being here the last 2 days. We really appreciate it. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Right now, it's time for Squawk on the Street.
These people love you. Okay, this is not a Wall Street analyst meeting. These are people whose lives you have changed.
These are people you have changed.
No, I haven't done anything.
Jim Cramer.
I haven't done anything. No. Well, if we're going to do that, then we're going to give credit to my dog, NVIDIA.
All right.
There you go.
A special event, Jim hosting NVIDIA's Jensen Huang yesterday at the CNBC Investing Club monthly meeting. Nice stuff, Jim. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Jim Cramer at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. David Faber has the morning off. Futures pretty solid after that 7-day win streak was broken on Tuesday. 10-year yield back to 4.1 as this government shutdown enters day 8 and more discussion of the short-term economic impact. Our roadmap begins with NVIDIA, though, in the AI arms race. Jensen Huang speaking with Jim last night and moments ago on Squawk, all about the deal making that's going on right now, including Oracle and Intel. Gold continuing its record rally, topping 4K for the first time ever. And we're tracking Tesla today after the stock did drop following its latest EV unveil. Let's begin, though, with NVIDIA, the AI trade, and Jensen Huang's message to investors. Jim, you heard him this morning, talked a lot about sort of this evolution between being a tech industrial and creeping elements of a financial company, too.
Yep. No, I thought that this morning was a great contrast. Yesterday, we had a club meeting, and we were talking. Jensen wanted to meet the people who became millionaires. Who did he make a millionaire, or the club made him, or he did? Today was all about, I think, a total affirmation of the way people are spending because of the Industrial Revolution, and how this is the 4th, and how we all wish we invested even more. Over and over again, he talks about how it's not circular deals. It's boy, I wish I got in. I wish he got in. Mentions CoreWave. We have them on tonight. Michael Trader, terrific guy. I just felt that his 1-2 punch made me feel that you have to be involved in this as an investor. Now, there is so much froth, and we're starting to see companies, I believe that, starting to see companies that are doing the secondaries. I've been waiting for that. They're validating the fact that their price is up, but we can't handle all the stock. We just don't want all the stock being dumped on the market. But at the same time, we have legitimate companies that must be bought.
In the meantime, that piece in the information yesterday on Oracle and their margins, you actually pushed this to get Jensen to address it last night. You want to take a listen to that?
Yes.
This is Jim's question and what Jensen said.
Today, there's an organization, a news organization, and put quotes around news, which says that Oracle lost nearly $100 million running out NVIDIA's chips. I know from the people I talk to that actually all these things are fungible, and Oracle's cost is so low that it's entirely possible that that number won't matter. But when you read these things, they lost $100 million. And I know that you've said to me over and over again, if you buy something from you actually get an immediate great return. You've demonstrated to me over and over again. When you hear something like this, what do you think?
Well, first of all, what Oracle does with NVIDIA systems is not easy. These things are giant supercomputers. You've got to build an infrastructure. It's got land. It's got power. It's got cooling. And then you have to operate these things. And when you're operating these things, when the customer doesn't get value from it, maybe the computer has problems, you don't get paid. And so even operating it takes a lot of skill, and then continuously operating it requires energy efficiency. And as you can see, operating a hotel takes a lot of craft and a lot of skill. Operating one of these AI data centers takes enormous amounts of engineering. And so when you first ramp up a new technology, there's every possibility that you might not make money in the beginning. But over the life of the system, they're going to be wonderfully profitable.
Right, I'm glad you said
They're going to do
that.
incredibly well.
Operating a hotel.
That was so, I mean, just comes up with these analogies that are so great, but wonderfully profitable. I know, I have to believe that the Oracle people were thrilled that there was an actual explanation about how you buy these things, and there's no immediate payoff. Look, when you're building a hotel, it's true. There's no payoff until about year 5, and I just feel like that what he's saying is when you build these things, you're not going to make money instantly. It would be great if you could, but the information story could be right at the beginning. But at the beginning, you're trying to get a trade-off like a Boeing plane.
Order
I would use
canceled.
the Boeing plane as an analogy, because
Order
when you first get a
submitted.
Boeing plane, holy cow, you're losing money. It's only in later years that you start amortizing. Year 4 to year 23. Boeing plane makes a huge amount of money, maybe you 30, because the planes are so good. But we don't understand this new world yet. And so you could have a scoop that will look like not a foolish scoop, not a scoop at all, in a few years from now. But at the moment, it's a gotcha.
Yeah.
And the gotcha is, look, basically, I mean, what is that organization saying? Well, that organization is trying to break news, as they have the whole way, that NVIDIA is overvalued, that if you're short NVIDIA, you'd beat that, and you certainly would double down on your short, but you'd be doubling down at 20, at 50, at 80, at 120, and then you're done. You're basically at the card table, and you're saying, "Listen, I'm going to get a 10, and I'm going to get a jack," and you run out of money getting 2 5s over and over again, and you split them.
So you do think that there'll be some capitulation among the shorts, or whatever skeptic community there is?
They're lucky. I mean, the shorts see that there's a bunch of deals just this morning where stock is offered, and they feel like, oh, good, I know that there's going to be supply. And if there's too much supply, a lot of retailer has built, they've moved these stocks up. That happened in 2000. You saw that's what happened to the street. We weren't able to offer that. We weren't as clever as some of the other companies to be able to offer stock. But once everyone offered stock between March 15th of 2000 and March 15th of 2001, the number of offerings was extraordinary, and we were all overwhelmed with them. And the street couldn't, the institutions couldn't buy them all. And the stock came down. That's fraud. That's what I'm on.
Is that like so? Joby, you throw that into that bucket?
Exactly. I saw Joby, and I said, wait a second. This is what I've been waiting for to say, okay, I am concerned. Because that's a 2000. That's a 2000 situation. Joby goes up from 7 to 17 because people get all excited about cars that fly. And then, boom, they do this. And watch that deal. The first couple probably work. Maybe investors will buy that. But after a while, we'll have way too much supply, and then the market goes down. That's why you have to watch these. There you go. That's why you have to watch these deals, because as you start seeing stock being offered, I'm just looking at some of the deals that are being offered. Like, let's say Oklo tonight offered it. Let's go to instance. Oklo has $227 million in cash. Now they need money. So let's say tonight they offered 50 million shares. Well, Oklo's been bid up by retail. They offer 50 million shares, they raise a huge amount of money, and then they're okay. But where do we buy it? I mean, who's that? Wow, look out. It was a retail stock that suddenly has institutional equity. And those who remember 2000, that's 2000.
So, but you think those kinds of corrections, if we call them that, can coexist with a durable AI trade?
Yes, because this time, and I wish, Jensen was such a diplomat in that interview this morning that was so good with Mike and Becky, and people should watch that interview. He went over and over and over again. What Jensen didn't do, because he's too much of a gentleman, is he doesn't remember that, or doesn't want to say that Lucent was crooked. They were crooks. Nortel hid how much it was not doing well for months and months, because they didn't want to ever admit. They kept hoping that the orders would come. And if you were involved in these, I was deeply involved in these because I was short these, and it was one of the greatest trades ever. And why? Because I said, you know what? I think these guys might be liars. Jensen Huang is not a liar. He's a hardworking guy who's put together a great business. Those companies were doing vendor finance. Yeah, I'll give you money, you buy.
Yep.
And then in the end, I mean, it was the Brazilian order that didn't make it. Like, people forget it. Lucid, they said in the last few days, the Brazilian order didn't come through. And all of us who were like involved said, the Brazilian order? I didn't know we were waiting for the Brazilian order.
Right.
And, those companies, they weren't legit. They weren't. I mean, that's why the headquarters was used for severance.
Yes. To Jim's point, Becky and Mike did pose this question of circular revenue, vendor financing to Jensen this morning. Here's what he said.
Almost everything that Elon's part of, you really want to be part of as well. And he gave us the opportunity to invest in XAI. I'm just delighted by that. And so that's an investment into a really great future company, and I'm really excited about that. That's not vendor financing per se. But what's going on in the world versus what happened in 2000 is just dramatically different. Back then, as you recall, there were pets.com, hospitals.com, and all of the internet companies combined was, what, $30, $40 billion in size? If you look at the hyperscalers now, that's where the first tranche of AI infrastructure is building. We've got to build into $500 billion worth of capacity infrastructure that's already naturally growing by itself, and we're in the beginning phases of that.
So this kind of ties in with Goldman's note today, where Oppenheimer writes from Goldman, says tech's expensive, but the leaders are financially solid in this era.
Order canceled.
Again, I want to just go over. If I could get for my travel trust what Jensen got.
Looks like gold's gonna go up again. Holy cow.
Maybe we got to sell this Bristol Myers, which is doing well. Maybe we dump the Danaher, and we just say, you know what? I want as much as I can if I'm offered that. Then I would start thinking, oh, darn, I'm not allowed to own individual stocks. This is just crushing me.
Yes.
Because that's a great deal.
But you're talking about an unbroadening of the market.
I think that there are serious companies, just kind of like, these are serious people.
Yes.
It's Brian Cox. I mean, these guys are serious. And look, no one's more serious than Musk. I mean, Musk wants that area. He wants to own that area. He's got Colossus too. Look at the deal that Jensen made with
Order
Corley.
submitted.
He basically saved their underwriting.
Order submitted.
I mean, that was even better than what Trump did with Intel.
Right. So after retail ETF, worst 2 days since April yesterday, downgrade of FedEx today, you have no problem selling other parts of the market to double down on these tech leaders?
I do think this morning I looked and I saw Cisco, which I've owned, and I owned it for this. And I say, oh, God, thank God it's come alive. And then I say, you know what, the analysts are going to use it. It's going to go to 73, 74. Cisco, a very, very, very solid company with a great balance sheet. It's been around forever. Often mentioned as one of the problems of 2000 was it was the largest company. But I think there's haves and have-nots. I think there's companies that are going to be part of the build-out and part of and won't. I mean, I was listening to Jen furiously writing down these names of these websites.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, right.
And now every one of them can
Order filled. Wow. Okay. Holy shit. Gold is just mooning.
Once he blesses something, it does matter. And I've got to tell you, I listened to that and I just said, oh, wow, there's some companies that are going to do well.
I will throw you this. I'll throw this out.
Order
filled.
Order filled.
On the bookings and the Expedias and the Spotify that were part of the OpenAI developer conference.
Order
that
submitted.
Back the next day. And one worries that some of these are going to get disrupted.
Well, look, I think that they were all hurt, frankly, by that the Carlyle report. We don't underestimate that. The hedge funds really believe it.
Order submitted.
Yeah, that was devastating, and maybe I think that's what killed the housing, not interest rates. I thought they killed housing because it said, wait a second, when we see the labor reports, they're going to be very weak. That was a meaningful offering that Carlyle gave us. The FedEx shocked me. Because I was betting that Raj Subramanian, this is going to be the big turn. He's taking a huge amount of business from UBS, but they also downgraded UN. They cut numbers UNP, they cut numbers CSX. That is slowing of the economy. So we have this slowing of the economy story. We've got the fourth story, and then we've got the real companies that are doing quite well, and they tend to be involved in the building of the data center. And that's just true. And I wish people want to say, oh my God, that's all fraud, but you're paying very little for a Meta right now.
Yeah. that you're right. There are kind of three markets going on right now.
We have
to your
three
point,
markets.
yes.
Three markets.
We're going to talk more about the prospect of a freight recession, what the shutdown's doing to consumer sentiment. There's Tesla, of course, unveiling that lower-priced EV yesterday, kind of underwhelmed the street, although up in the pre-market, as are futures overall. More Squawk on the Streets. Back in a minute.
Only ServiceNow connects every corner of your business, putting AI to work for people.
Every corner?
Every corner, Nick. So, Kate in HR, hey Kate, can focus on people, not process. Patty in IT is using AI agents to deal with the small stuff so she can work on the big stuff. AI helps Jim solve customer problems before they're problems.
Oh, so we all work better together.
My work here is done.
Excuse me, which way back?
Tamara, Izzy, and Emma. They respond to emails with phone calls. And they don't circle back. They're already there. They wear business sneakers and pad their keyboards with something that makes their clickety-clacking clickety-clackier. But no one loves logistics as much as they do. You need Tamara.
That's a
Izzy,
quick
and Emma.
little drop
They need
on
a
goal.
retirement plan. Work with Principal so we can help you with a retirement and benefits plan that's right for your team.
I'm so sleepy.
Round out yours.
Here on the internet, you can pretend to be anything. Like a medical professional.
Or a skilled electrician.
Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Angie, job's done well.
We'll have to alert suppliers, coordinate shipments.
Already alerted, already coordinated.
Since when can we just scale up mid-cycle?
Since we brought in BDO.
People who know BDO.
Introducing CNBC Plus.
You can stream Squawk Box.
Stream Squawk on the Street.
If you can't catch Fast Money in real time, watch us later on CNBC Plus.
And it's something that you can get for your phone, you can get for your TV. Just check it out.
With enhanced data.
What you're currently seeing is our CNBC Plus data feed.
You can see here around me.
It shows you enhanced data and the latest headlines.
Bell-to-bell global live stream.
Very informational. I like that.
You're always connected.
Look at that. Pretty good.
Start streaming at cnbc.com/plus.
To throw the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. We hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB.
That's your problem. You need to find a solution.
I spoke with the sales team, and their main insight is that they're seeing figures that are increasing when we highlight product benefits.
I agree on that angle. I have a few ideas.
Nuance Audio is the new invisible hearing solution built into your glasses. Hear what you see comfortably with open ear speakers. Nuance Audio, in tune with life.
Gold has extended its record rally. The precious metal moving higher a day after closing above 4,000 an ounce for the first time ever. It's on pace for an 8th consecutive week of gains, 53% for the year. Today, Jim Silver joins the party.
It should. You should go buy silver. I have Agnico Eagle, and tonight you should go buy Agnico Eagle. They will demonstrate that there is a shortage of gold. It's both sides. There's not a lot of supply. We're having trouble finding it. And the demand, I think, is very much related to a weaker dollar and related to the 37 trillion. I'm such a huge gold bug, but I've been a gold bug the whole way because I've always felt that you need an alternative that is a great insurance. That's why, look, I'm in favor of crypto. You need insurance, but I never thought that I'd be making money in my insurance. I always thought that it would just be, And that's because it's been out for like, I felt like I was wrong for 30 years. Okay, really. I thought I was wrong for 30 years, and now it's suddenly right. But it's catching up, I think, to where it should have been. I mean, gold has been precious for a very long time, and yet it didn't really hold up in price.
Yeah. I mean, look at a gold ETF over, say, 20 or 30 years compared to a tech ETF. Some of these gains are insane. Morgan Stanley goes to 4,400 for next year, which I think is above consensus. Silver spot, this would be a 14-year high on spot silver.
Well, look, silver's a little more plentiful, But I do think that I was puzzled by how poorly gold is done for many years, and I put on these gold miners. And every year I say, I got to stop putting them on. I mean, I'm just killing people, particularly the junior gold miners, Franklin, Nevada. I mean, I put everyone on. I mean, ones that had a problem with the weather that shut their minds. It's finally proving to be more than insurance. It's now an investment. And I want to tell people, this thing is so far behind where it should be that don't be shocked. It's got to catch up where it's. I'm trying to buy it from Costco every day.
Yeah, we had Rob Kaplan from Goldman on yesterday. He called it a red light, what gold is telling you right now. And there's a piece in Barron's today. The gold rally or the AI rally, which rally do you trust?
Well, gold, I think, is a default strategy because you should be concerned. Now, we ran the Charlie Munger quote, which was brilliant, which is that gold's good if you're a Jewish person in Vienna in '39. I would say that it's good for anybody who feels that there is a belief that the government can't hold up. That's not why I like it. I like it not for the idea that I can flee somewhere. I like it as a hard asset against the dollar. Gold has many uses, including for people who want to go for a run. But it's been a terrible investment because it doesn't pay anything.
Right.
And would I buy it right here? I've been saying buy. I can't suddenly say, you know what, I'm done with gold because I've been a buyer of gold and I still think gold's good. Silver, again, is plentiful and also has some industrial applications, so I've not been as hot on that. Has gold rally gotten ahead of itself in the speed? I don't know. I mean, it's almost like a meme. And I was talking to someone who's a gold person. I said, is there any way the gold's being cornered? And the answer is no. There's too much hard gold around. But there are times when gold is unbelievably good, and this is the best I've ever seen. And I think that if you own it, you probably own it for insurance. So why do you sell your insurance?
Right. You've usually said 10% maybe gold. Has that number changed?
Yeah, no, I think that in my book I say 10 is good. And like I said, my friend Aaron Burnett was referencing last night saying, Jim, you like gold. And I wanted to say, she was saying last night, Jim's like gold. I wanted to say, man, but I like gold, but it stunk. I mean, but yeah, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. So now that it's happening, that's why I'm going to have to bring Nico on because they're the guys that have the most. They do it in the safest area. We're running out of gold in unsafe areas. It's just turning out to be something where if you have gold and you're mining it, there's going to be problems with the government. So do you really want to be a gold miner in the United States and in Canada? And we don't have enough of those. So there's a great scarcity value.
It's tough parts of the world.
Yes.
Where you
Oh
find
my
it,
God. You don't want to have your team kidnapped.
Well, good. Kramer's Mad Dash and the opening bell. One more look at the pre-market on this Wednesday. Don't go anywhere.
This is Jess, Peloton instructor, educator, game changer. She needs her money to work as hard as she does. That's why she uses U.S. Bank Smartly checking and savings, which does exactly that, helping her track her spending and grow her money. Together, we'll achieve more than any of us could alone. You got this, Jess.
We got this.
That's the power of Jess, and this is the power of us.
Hey, Perry.
Can't talk. Must guard. Why don't you get Simply Safe, like us? Must guard house.
Simply Safe has proactive monitoring. The AI outdoor camera alerts live Simply Safe agents of a crime before it starts, not after.
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on their way.
Who can compete with that? Pretty cool, huh? Simply Safe. Real security stops crime before it starts.
There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The writing isn't on the wall anymore. It's everywhere, and it's all talking at you at the same time. Barclays Investment Bank provides global market insights and sector expertise to manage risk, power future growth, and see through the noise. Barclays, powering possible.
We might flush at open, so be careful. Got 6 minutes.
I see you. I feel you.
I want gold to dump.
And I know you. Gold Bond. Get in touch with irresistibly touchable skin.
Why should you trade options rather than stocks? Because they offer higher returns, are cost-effective, and can actually reduce risk. Learn how in our new book. Get a free copy today at its It's not an option.com.
At AT&T Business, we guarantee our best deals on any smartphone with your choice of our best plans. What we can't guarantee, your employees having a similar work style. You hired them, or your staff all having the same vibe. I like this stuff. And your design team being on the same page?
Bold choice.
For 2002.
What AT&T does guarantee are best deals on any smartphone with your choice of our best plans for any employee. And we mean any.
Overtime's about understanding what just happened in the markets that day and preparing.
The bot is short NQ, but it's red now. It was green for a little bit. Honestly, I don't know. This market is hard.
S&P gainers this morning. Equifax going to open up a little bit higher as they put some new competitive pricing in for their scores, trying to reclaim some business that might have been lost as Fair Isaac went direct to those mortgage resellers. We'll talk about some more metals as well with Freeport on the list. Opening bell in about 5 minutes. Don't forget, you can catch us anytime, anywhere. Just listen to and follow the Squawk on the Street Opening Bell podcast.
October 15th, join CNBC's AI Summit in Nashville, where visionary leaders and innovators explore AI's impact on work, business, and society. Register now at cnbcevents.com/AI.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's. One love.
Go Cowboys. What matters to post-university people? People who pick Post put their families first. Post people want an online education that works on their schedule within their budget, so they can get a degree that can help move their career forward without having to leave the people that matter most behind. Are you a Post person? Find out at post.edu.
Introducing Sports Center for you, personalized every single day. Now available on the ESPN app. Powered by your favorites.
Bot just went long on NQ.
The place where you create those special moments.
Hold on. I don't even know if it's good or not anymore. I can't tell with this market.
We help you create that special place. And because we know you're busy, we bring the showroom to you at your convenience and provide a design expert to help you find the perfect solution that fits your style.
Yeah, this is hard.
3-day blinds. You'll love the treatment.
We have 2 minutes.
Go online right now to
I get all-time high again.
in-home design
Who knows?
consultation.
Investing. You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. You're not a child playing a game. This is grown-up business. The real thing. You know wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Nuveen invests with the foresight and vision to anticipate the needs of future generations. To build strong portfolios that deliver lasting legacies. To innovate and adapt for what's just around the corner. Because after 125 years of yesterdays, Nuveen knows your ultimate stakeholder is tomorrow. Nuveen, invest like the future is watching.
The opening bell is brought to you by Nuveen. Invest like the future is watching.
Kramer's Mad Dash as we count down to the bell.
This is a fascinating time. Cisco right now, they just unveiled a chip and networking system that's for, of course, the data center, to connect AI data centers. This is something that Broadcom has been doing quite effectively. So you might say this is a good example of what's going on. Here's Cisco, and remember they were the most overvalued company in 2000, so someone's going to say that. That was a different Cisco. But here's Cisco make a lower, much below, 16 times earnings stock, not 400 times earnings. Cisco, the other one was really very, it's actually about 40 times earnings. But I look at this deal and I say, okay, Cisco and Broadcom, is there enough business for both? This very morning, Ben Reichers comes out with a piece, Melius, which says, do not worry about Broadcom. And the reason why you don't have to worry is there's so much business out there. Broadcom is talking about people using their chip inside, but Broadcom is everywhere. I think that you can own them both. My Chapel Trust does own them both. That's not because we think that both of them are going to clash and therefore there's only one winner. We're doing it because there's so much business to be had that I think both are bonds.
I was going to say, it's much cheaper on a multiple basis than Broadcom.
Come on, dump it, go. Let's go. I want NQ to run up, and I want Gold to run down.
To the Cisco quarter, they generally give us great color on sort of the character of the sales cycle.
They should
Too strong.
I also think that they're doing a lot in cybersecurity, which is we've stopped talking about that. I think that when you look at CrowdStrike and Palo Alto Networks, those stocks have really held up rather well.
There you go, NQ.
Again, I think that cybersecurity. You saw the story about Salesforce, and they're not going to pay a ransom. I thought that was very important. I'm going out to see Dreamforce next week.
Big week next week, right?
Yeah, and I think what Mark Benioff's doing is he's presenting 12 people who are doing really, really well with this, and that matters. But at the same time, Jensen Huang this morning talked about how he writes his own code using an outfit that I frankly I'd never heard of before. And what it says is,
what's up? 20 points on the NQ.
Which is at a Federal Reserve meeting, which again is using a code that says it's no longer going to be stuck with Salesforce. So when you have this cursor that Jensen Huang talked about so eloquently this morning on Squawk Box, which he's using to be able to write his own code, you want to say, okay, so what code were they buying? What programs were they buying?
Yeah.
So in Flux, there are people who are trying to disintermediate. There's Cisco versus Broadcom. Everyone wants a piece of the action. Very few think like Jensen that it's so big everyone's going to get it. But I agree with Jensen. It is so big.
That was one of the remarkable things of this morning's interview is mentioning companies that he says will be giants that we've not yet really heard of yet.
Yeah.
No, and I'm like sitting there.
Higher day now on NQ.
Oh my God, open evidence. Is that going to disintermediate law firms? No, it's going to disintermediate hospitals. Even just a year ago, he did not have that list. Because I said, listen, please tell me who is going to do the disintermediation? And he said, it's going to happen, Jim. And it is happening right now.
Dell's the other really interesting story. Michael Dell was on Closing Bell yesterday talking about the future of data center construction and demand. Melius today says EPS long-term growth probably goes from the 8s to the 15s. Multiple goes to maybe to 15 times.
Michael Dell popped into our meeting, and I was like, just congratulating him because this thing deserves a much higher multiple. After what happened yesterday, it gave up a lot of the gains, but they presented a story where they basically doubled the growth rate. And to me, that's a clarion call that you've got to go buy Dell. It's not an expensive stock. Michael Dell and his family bought a huge amount of stock, as he said he would.
The NQ all-time high is 275. Long way to go.
Clark, who I think is one of the great unsung executives who does a lot of terrific stuff, and that is a real good news. But perhaps the best news is that there was a fellow by the name of Base Power. His name was Zach Dell. Yes, he was on CNBC this very morning. That's Michael Dell's son, talking about his company. I was very
appearance on Squawk.
Yeah. And someone who knows Michael, I was very proud for Michael.
Dell was asked whether or not there would be a point where we had too many data centers. Here's his answer.
Tremendous, obviously, storage, data storage, and networking as well. And so, yeah, I mean, our server networking business last year grew at 58%. Last quarter grew at 69%. And you know, I'm sure at some point there'll be.
Gold looks like it's wants. Gold wants to drop. I hope it does.
There have been periods in the past where there's.
I don't care for NQ anymore.
Cycle, but based on the demand signal
Oh my god.
and what we're hearing from customers, and we're watching carefully, understand what's going on. It seems like the demand is very solid.
Well, I thought that was cautionary. But I remember when in the second industrial revolution, remember Jansen Fields were in the fourth. In the second, there were rails and they were doing great. And then you got some people like the robber barons. You got Jay Gould in there, and Jay Gould was trying to put together the railroad. Commodore Vanderbilt trying to everyone was trying to put together the railroad, and there were too many railroads.
Order
but
canceled.
the railroad itself was a major institution that changed America. And I think that it's absolutely true that there could be too many data centers, but at the interim, it's going to change America. And what I'm trying to do is figure out who benefits from the change America, not just who benefits from the data center. I asked Jensen yesterday, come on, I mean, all these nuclear power, do we need all the nuclear power? How is it going to disrupt the regular person's bill? And he said, look, we're going to try to build as much as we can. It's just, we're a growth country. We were not a growth country, and suddenly we are a growth country. He praised President Trump for being very pro-energy because he said we need all the energy we can get. So again, that's the fourth industrial. Now, we're not in a period right now where people say we can't have coal come back. We're in a period where somebody recommended Peabody.
Ooh, gold is dipping.
Super cycle, which never, of course, happened. But I do think that politically, it's going to be very difficult to do what these guys
The question will be whether or not, what happens faster, the build out on energy or the efficiency of chips, which would reduce your reliance on energy.
There you go. Oh yeah.
You're going to build chips that don't need this much energy, and I believe passionately that they're going to go from copper inside to glass inside. And he said he just immediately pivoted right to no, we need more energy. Did he duck that question? I think he just felt that it was important to get the story.
Yeah, I was short gold. I don't know about NQ now.
That Becky and Michael had this morning. They asked. I tried to get those questions in, but it was really a celebration of how much money was made.
Good morning, bud.
$4.5 trillion.
We had so many millionaires there yesterday who just wanted to celebrate. And remember, yesterday was not my idea. I didn't ask Jensen, he asked me. Jensen wanted to meet with regular people who have become very, very wealthy because of the things that we had done together.
Sure.
Because of NVIDIA the dog.
Sure, yeah, of course.
And so we had certainly a different purpose, but Jensen wanted to celebrate with people who had become millionaires who were regular people, and every one of them he reveled in. I said, listen, let's do a group picture. He said, no, whoever wants a picture gets it. I said, Jensen, we're here all day. But he didn't care. He wanted to be in touch with the people who have benefited from his work.
One thing about Jensen is he's been vocal on China and making sure that our architecture is the standard over there. ASML did some lawmakers accusing the company, the Dutch company, of course, of assisting the Chinese in their chip making. The shares have suffered a bit because of it.
That is the one that they can't live without, so to speak. I asked Jensen about what the president's saying with China. By the way, just so you know, that stock has had a very big move off for what was supposed to be a disappointing quarter. So let's keep that in mind. I asked Jensen about the president, and he said, I said, how did you get at 15%? That 15% basic tax that the president said we have to have, and he goes, he came in with 20, I came in with 10. He came up with 15. Right. That's the first time I really got the negotiation, but he does think passionately that you have to build everything on the chassis that is his, and that would be really, really great for us. Distinguishes that they're not going to use it for military. We don't use it for military. I think it's important to try to distinguish globalists, which some people have attacked him because there's some people in the White House that hate globalists, with actually a person that just says no dominance. He favors U.S. dominance, not globalists. But the people who don't like the globalists are saying he's just greedy. I think that's an insult.
Yeah, he did say I think he's hopeful that the visa policy here in the States will continue to draw talent like himself.
Yeah, look, I think that these are things where you just say, where would our country be without the immigrants? And you take a look at, say, for instance, the hyperscalers. Most of them are run by immigrants or have a huge number of people at the top who are immigrants. And remember, he wants the U.S. to be competitive, and one way is to do it with legal immigration. He's not talking about illegal immigration. That's really important. Right. It's what's legal immigration. He has. There were no criticisms, by the way, of the president yesterday. I agree with him on energy. Agree with him on China. Made the point that the previous administration didn't necessarily provide a route where we could dominate worldwide, and it's important that we do dominate. He doesn't use the word dominate. That's my word. You know, that we be involved.
Jim, we have a piece on CNBC.com looking at freight and the normal surge of holiday merchandise that you normally get before the holidays is not really coming in. We mentioned the FDX downgrade over at JP Morgan today, and they cut their price target on two, I think, on UPS.
Okay, the normal time that having been involved with Christmas retail for 30 years of my life, you need that stuff in July and August, not now, it's too late. So I'm not sure how to look at that. If you look at a TJX, for instance, if you look at
Order canceled.
Goods, they'll be getting rid of their Thanksgiving stuff in maybe 4 weeks.
Right. Although here's the JP Morgan downgrade. Increasingly concerned, the guide is a risk.
They should be concerned because there's nobody who feels that things are good.
So NQ next level would be 159 and then 199. So there's that room.
Well, freighters.
Those coming back up.
And housing is, and those may be enough to be able to trigger rate cuts. But the economy that the Atlanta Fed says is growing at 3.8% is the one I deal with, and I've been dealing with banks that are just saying it's maybe the best time ever. I know I'm dealing with these smaller regional banks, and they're saying, look, this is the greatest growth with the fewest defaults. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, wow, Fed should raise.
Yeah, Wells today does raise their U.S. GDP. They go to 2% for the full year, 2.3 for next year. They do see a cut in October, in December, and then 2 more in the first half.
Looks like gold.
That's counterintuitive.
Looks like it wants to dip.
It's hard to see.
Hey, how you doing?
Because Jay Powell is pragmatic.
Hey.
And if unless we
Are you trading?
Employment numbers,
nice.
That's going to be hot, very tough. Look, I think that this is going to depend on employment. If employment starts, if we start getting hurt on employment,
Oh,
that's
they're not on yet.
no reason to make all this sure. But I mean, not what I'm seeing with the companies.
By the way, 10-year back to 4.1. Remember, we were getting close to 4.2. This shutdown, Jim, it's already affecting flights. The military is due a paycheck on the 15th. TSA and air traffic controllers on the 14th. And now there's discussion of whether they'd get reciprocal back pay or not.
I know, and maybe the military has a special payment. I do think that's something they have to agree to do something, and because it's starting to be bad for both parties. But the president makes the point that we could be back to work except for the people who shouldn't. There's a bit of a punitive nature to the president's analysis of these things.
Yeah.
But I think that that's employment and that's pay, and those are things that I am worried about. If I were in the Washington area, I'd really be worried about it. But we need, if you want those cuts, you're going to have to see employment weakness. By the way, where are the people who are so concerned about 5%? Where are the billionaires who told us that 5% was the make or break? Well, the answer is they never cared. They're billionaires, for heaven's sake. They come on. Why do billionaires come on? Because we book them. Why do we book them? Because they're billionaires. You want circular? There you go.
Another echo of your book, which has you spare no kind words for billionaires.
Only Tepper. Only the guy who's the toughest guy I ever worked for.
Oh, okay, so that's what it means. 5. That's so strange.
To the point where I wanted to quit Goldman Sachs, and I love him.
Speaking of billionaires, Jim, Elon Musk and Tesla yesterday rolling out this stripped-down Model Y, a little cheaper, in an effort to fight back on the loss of that tax credit. Shares didn't really appreciate the presentation, at least.
Well, that's because Daniel Ives wasn't there to promote it, or he was there and didn't say the things. And of course, Tesla's up a bit. I would say that.
Yes, it's chop time now. It's gonna be boring.
We're in the autonomous drive. We're in the software mode. Somehow we're not even.
We got FMOC minutes right later today.
Because I'm looking at BMW sales and they're just awful.
Well, they just cut their view.
Yeah, I wonder what time. The reason why.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna break down on gold. For me, I think it's gonna go down.
Best friends, perhaps, with Russia, is because they're selling a lot of cars there. Well, now they're not.
I was short at 68, so I took profit too early. Are you you still trading gold?
We've been tough. We switched to being tough on Russia, but I've always been surprised that the allies, the theoretical allies in NATO, really kind of the bus is being driven by France, and who the heck knows what's going on with their government, and Germany. And I think that Germany is mercantile enough that they were sticking with. They didn't want to lose those car sales. Well, they've lost them. So Germany, get more pragmatic and join the coalition, the willing, that makes it so that Russia is not going to be able to run over Ukraine.
Yeah, there is a huge trading partner.
Not really dump. It hasn't dumped yet. Dump, it would go down to like 25 or 30. That's a dump, but just not really dumping. Keep bouncing at the 50.
Their target on Tesla, they go to 483. A lot of that's on, not so much on auto sales, to your point, but robo-taxi.
I wouldn't long go.
There is a group of people that Jensen is.
I'll just wait. I don't long go, but it's up to you.
Considered to be basically a club member.
Just choppy right now.
Zook, he loves Zook, which I think is amazing. He talks about these people as this, well, look, and by the way, it includes Michael Intraday, who I have on tonight before we. That's part of that same group who just keeps buying and buying and buying. I thought it was interesting this morning. Asaj's in that list too. I thought it was very interesting this morning that he mentioned AWS as a possible key company. AWS has not spent enough, I think. Now, Amazon can disagree with me, and of course they have every right to, but I'm looking at everybody else. They're not thinking about the stock.
Good luck on gold.
Think about the stock. Now, maybe that makes me too mercantile myself and too mercurial myself, but I thought
you need 25 points to win the giveaway today.
I'd love to see announcements from Andy Jassy saying, hey, listen, we are buying a lot. People who think that we're not buying a lot of
it's bouncing again on gold.
Make me uninformed, Andy.
Yeah, Amazon's been in a really tight range for a couple of weeks.
But it's been so good for so long. I mean, look, I gave up on Alphabet because it had been a dog for so long. It had fleas. But that was a mistake. I gave up incorrectly. I'm not going to give up on Amazon. Why? Because I like Andy Jassy. Even though tomorrow night he's going to suffer a beatdown of incredible proportions on Thursday Night TV, which I hope it's on Amazon. So it really just be right in his face.
We hope you guys got enough rest in 4 days.
Well, I don't know, and I think Saquon's so great. But actually, I want a second. I don't want to. I think the Giants are much better than people realize, and I think that the Eagles in the second half were the only thing good about the second half was being really good soft pretzels.
Dude, Dart and Scatabo, a couple interesting combination in its early days.
Yes. Yeah. Meanwhile, AMD won't quit, and that's because it should never have been up only what it was that day. Lisa Sue, she's kind of this. That's a Sub-Rosa storyline the whole time.
Yeah, that's a true re-rating, what happened in the last 2 or 3 days.
She is so deserving of it. She never quit.
Home builders are weak as we watch the bond report today.
Well, that's that third economy, the real economy.
Mortgage apps were a disappointment.
Yeah, it looks like it. And Kill is going though. Wow.
Apps are down 2.4 annualized over the last 6 months.
Even though rates are down, we don't have enough. There's just a lot of reasons why I still think that. I still remember. Look, I have a 2.78 mortgage, and to me, it's like you take that and you go buy treasuries, and even after tax.
Order submitted.
Come out ahead. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Order filled. Order submitted.
The Bond Report is brought to you by PIMCO, a global leader in active fixed income.
For adults with obesity, Zepbound means change.
It's changing what I believe is possible when it comes to weight loss.
Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off.
Don't take if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills, taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems.
Zepbound means change. Discover how Zepbound compared to Wegovy. See the study results at compareZepbound.com. Ask your healthcare provider about Zepbound. Explore savings options today.
Dear Dr. K, I used to think I was never meant to be beautiful. I was teased because of my teeth. I didn't like the person looking back at me in the mirror. I never thought I could afford dental implants. You and your team worked within my budget and helped me feel confident in the plan we made together. I love my new smile. Thank you.
Congratulations, Cynthia.
Introducing our new lifetime warranty on zirconia arches, only at Clear Choice. Call to schedule a free consultation.
House stealing is on the rise. I've heard of these home title scams, but couldn't I just call my county and they'd reverse it? It doesn't work like that. When your home title's stolen,
There you go. I was shorting NQ, so got some points on it.
sounds expensive. Okay, enough. I'm getting home title lock right now. Who are you anyway?
Order submitted.
We're stealing homes.
You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com. That's HomeTitleLock.com.
No matter what kind of home you're looking for, it's waiting for
Yeah,
you.
I'm gonna reshort again once it
And when
bounces.
you find it, see it before anyone else. Book a showing right now only on Redfin. Find your dream home on Redfin, powered by Rocket.
Introducing CNBC Plus, the new streaming platform from the #1 source in business news. Watch live or on demand. Access any market, anytime, anywhere. Start streaming. Go to cnbc.com/plus now.
Watch oil today. Remember on Friday, ahead of the OPEC meeting, tests got close to 60 or so, and then the production hike not as aggressive as some might have thought. It's retraced some of that, Jim, back to 62.5 roughly.
I had been saying that it's going to break 60.
I'm not sure. Some people got real cash, so I don't know. I'm thinking it's real money.
15.5 million per day, and it's going to be us. I think that's a swing, unless they've taken out so much Russian capacity. Ukraine has been really killing the Russian capacity of late. Maybe that's what's going on.
Meantime, pretty narrow range.
Yeah, that's one guy though.
22. Back after
Two of our guys got $200 cash, so I don't know.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build.
It's
And our
chop
experienced
fest now.
advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Rather than get rich quick, I believe in get rich slow. The high yield cash account at Public actually had higher rates than anything else I was able to find online. I don't want to be losing sleep over having made risky
What's up, buddy?
investments. I needed something stable that could really give me long-term financial benefits.
Yeah, I don't have the game yet. It's supposed to be on. I blew my Tradeday Cup challenge last night. I was trying to YOLO. I did like 5 goals short and it pumped. It's like around 2 o'clock. There's a little spammer. Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
70% of the Fortune 100 trust
Yo, me love, quit spamming.
built to secure their business and the AI fueling their innovation.
Have you traded yet?
Is changing the world. We're securing it. CrowdStrike.
The long was good earlier on the bot.
Every day, I'm checking the markets throughout the trading session.
What's
working
up,
the
baby
phones,
bear?
talking to sources to share
I got killed last night playing gold.
and all of the details that you need to make money.
Closing bell overtime for Easter and streaming on CNBC.
Raising Cane's is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer.
Yeah,
with a
it just ran up
$500,000
so
donation
much.
Through the sale of a limited edition breast cancer awareness plush puppy to help fund their
Order
research
filled.
with the aspiration to cure all patients. Raising Cane's chicken fingers.
Yeah.
One love.
Order submitted.
That's your problem. You need to find a solution.
Order canceled.
I spoke with the sales team, and their main insight is that they're seeing
Nice.
figures that are
I was green, and then I got greedy and traded again late night, and Yeah, I got killed.
Nuance Audio is the new invisible hearing solution
Order
built into
submitted.
your glasses. Hear what you see comfortably with open ear speakers.
Oh no.
Nuance Audio, in tune with life.
That's good. That's good.
Depending on which layer of the stack, but overall, I would say we're not far ahead. If you look at the entire stack, they're way ahead on energy. I am so happy that President Trump leaned into pro-growth,
That would be
pro-energy
nice.
growth, so that an entire industry above it could grow. If you could just imagine, without President Trump's pro-energy policy, that entire layer above the energy would have been constrained. China's well ahead of us on energy.
That's
Order
Jensen Wong
filled.
this morning on Squawk talking about the race between the U.S.
Order
and China,
submitted.
Jim, on the technology, but also on the resources you need to
Sam.
run the technology.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Order canceled.
there's just absolutely no way that
See,
you can take,
I
say
am up
that
300 on
we've
this
been
challenge
very
again.
hobbled
Man.
in the previous administration. And that's really what Jensen's saying,
Yeah.
because
Order
Jensen
submitted.
felt this kind of like an anti-energy presidency, and this is a
Oh, I haven't tried TPT yet. I was just trying to get this challenge
person
back.
who very much wants to stay ahead of China. I remember in
Did
2008,
that
I had a
trade
definitive
TPT
discussion
Pro.
with the president about how much he
Order
disliked China.
canceled.
Gold's not moving
I think
much.
it's
He
really
just staying
important
the
to
same
recognize
range
that
so
we
far.
will lose the race if you care about the race.
Order
Unless
filled.
we get nuclear going. I hope we don't use coal.
Yeah,
because
NQ, it's
there
the
are
bot's
things that
up
I've had
80
enough
points
of, and
now.
but China builds coal plants constantly, and don't want to get into that race. I think we just have to be able to build nuclear.
Right. I mean, they also do a ton of renewables, and Japan does
Order
a ton of
submitted.
nukes, and probably is going to do more.
It dropped a little bit.
Even after Fukushima, look, we have to get these. There's so many companies that are in this small modular reactor, but where are they? And they got to get on the case, and we got to really. This is really important for our country because it's clean energy, it's good energy.
Look forward to CoreWeave tonight. Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's really important to recognize that their model was endorsed by Jensen, even as the bears think it's a bogus model.
Next level on NQ is gonna be
All right, let's get
199.
Mad Money 6 p.m. Eastern Time with the S&P up about 10 points on a very busy Wednesday. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for calling Consumer Cellular, ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction.
Hi, my friend Linda has you guys and gets way better coverage than I do.
Sounds like Linda has you beat.
Not at bowling.
You're breaking up a little.
Are you really ranked #1 in coverage?
Yep. And plans start at just $20.
Oh, we could afford lessons for Linda. You're embarrassing yourself.
At least my phone works.
Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage satisfaction. Call or visit Consumer Cellular today.
When you wear hollow socks, every step feels like a miracle. Yeah, we can say that. The Pope's American. Hollow socks wick away moisture, keeping your feet dry and cool, even in extreme heat.
Yeah,
Softer
try to
than
stay
wool,
at bear.
tougher than
You'll die.
cotton.
Short in NQ, short in gold gets bad.
My assistant went to customink.com to get
market
new
is
uniforms with all the
crazy.
locations. He
Order
found great
filled.
products, uploaded new art, and had boxes sent to all the shops. Custom Ink makes it so
Order
easy.
submitted.
Get started today at customink.com.
Your outlet is loose. You need SnugPlug, the fast and easy way to make sure your plug stays in. Now go from loose outlet to secure Snuglet. Look, with 5 pounds of pressure on an ordinary outlet, the plug comes out. But not with SnugPlug. Even with the same 5 pounds of pressure, the plug stays snug.
You'll find so many uses for SnugPlug every day.
Turn the frustration off and keep the power on with SnugPlug. Get your SnugPlugs at Walmart, the Home Depot, and Amazon.
At Public, the high-yield cash account's a no-brainer. I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it. It's very simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you.
Order
We
canceled.
believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful.
Wish we get a
the result.
pullback and long.
Treat your goals as our
It's
own.
hard, yeah.
we never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
October 15th, join CNBC's AI Summit in Nashville, where visionary leaders and innovators explore AI's impact on work, business, and society. Register now at cnbcevents.com/AI.
CNBC's Changemakers 2026 list, spotlighting women who innovate,
There you go.
lead
Drop it, drop
boldly,
it, drop
and
it.
are transforming business. Do you know someone who is rewriting the future? Nominate them now at cnbc.com/changemakers.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla. We are live as always from post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. David Faber has the morning off. Coming up in today's show, is OpenAI's futuristic Sora app a threat to social media companies and to Hollywood? We'll talk
Oh
about
my
the
gosh.
concerns from competitors and creatives. Plus, gold hits another record high this morning, but not everybody's happy about it. We'll talk about why the surge could be a warning sign for the entire market.
We
What a
begin then
pump.
with the government shutdown now in day 8 and some real-world impacts being felt as we enter the second week. Phil LeBeau joins us with a look at how the stoppage is impacting flights in particular. Morning, Phil.
Hi, Carl. We've seen this happen over the last couple of days, and it is continuing today with flight delays around the country. There's no specific pattern. In other words, you don't see one airport in particular that is always hit, though we see some of the usual suspects here. Chicago, O'Hare has had a number of ground delays. Newark, Denver, Nashville yesterday, and there are more delays due to air traffic control staffing, which, by the way, we should point out, the Air Traffic Controller Union put out a note to its members saying, you are expected to come to work. This is, you're not allowed to say,
Slow grind up.
everybody's taking it off, I'm taking it off. But you guys know how this goes. There's clearly air traffic controllers who are not showing up for their job. Now, whether or not they're legitimately sick or if they decide they're too stressed out, whatever the matter is, this has resulted in delays. Look at how they have
Wow.
increased. We heard from the Secretary of Transportation yesterday on Squawk Box talking about the uptick in sick calls. Monday, there were the delays of more than 6,000.
Almost all-time high again. I don't know what to do.
There were a couple of
Don't know what
hotspots
to
in the
do.
day that made it seem like it might have been a little worse. So far today, 861.
Sit.
Keep in mind, we've got weather in the
Yeah.
Northeast. Boston is a particular hotspot this morning. So what you're
I
seeing
don't
here
want
is
it
a
long
number
anymore.
just through, what, 10 o'clock Eastern time? That number is expected to grow throughout the day. We're going to take
Order
a look at Delta
canceled.
shares, and the reason we're doing that is because
Yeah.
Delta will be reporting its Q3 results
What's the
tomorrow.
next one? Hold on.
We
Let
know
me
the
see.
company
Next
has expected
is
things to improve this summer, especially when it
292.
comes to corporate travel. That'll be a
Yeah.
primary question when we talk with Ed Bastian.
All-time high
exclusively on
is
Thursday morning. But we'll also talk to him about the
275.
impact
Crazy.
these delays are having in terms of potentially hurting future bookings. Are there people, are there corporate travelers who have said, you know what?
Oh, they have
until this thing gets resolved,
FMOC
I'm not
minutes
crazy
today
about the
too,
idea
so
of potentially
I don't know.
being stuck in an airport a few extra hours because there are
Yeah.
ground delays that have popped up. So those will be front and center when we talk
Oh,
with Ed
bought on
on
3
Thursday
minutes
morning.
on
Bottom line is this,
AQ.
guys, you will see more delays throughout the day today as we see air traffic control staffing
Just
issues
like-
around the country.
Phil, you're absolutely right.
15 minutes got
Robert
way
Reich
more
raised some
upside.
stuff looking back at
So
the
maybe a little
2018,
pullback
2019
before we bounce
shutdown,
again.
and it was really
I'm
that
gonna try a
January
little
of
short.
19
Order
where the flight
submitted.
delays started to hit East Coast, DC area. The flight
Order
attendants were like,
canceled.
we told you, and that's when
Yeah,
things got back to the table.
211. I was short at 210.
Order
Everybody
submitted.
knows this, Carl. This is not some mystery here. You start to impact
You
the
okay?
flights of people, and they can't get around the country. They start reaching out to their members of Congress, and they say, get it fixed now. And I'm curious how long this goes. How much worse will it have to be before you really start to see a public clamoring for
I
Washington?
thought
to
Gambit
come up
will
with
be
some
on.
kind of
Maybe I
an
hope he didn't
agreement
mess
to
up.
get the government functioning again. Because this air traffic controller staffing
Yeah, everybody
situation,
else.
it was already
E-Today. A lot of
it's
people blew
only
up
being
yesterday
made
though.
worse by the fact that you do see this uptick in sick calls.
Are there safety concerns?
Let me see. Go.
Well, there's not safety concerns from this standpoint, Sarah.
Huh?
For example, yesterday O'Hare had a ground.
No, I had it 210. Set it in for 210. It ain't bouncy yet.
They're doing that so they can.
Gold
spread
looks
the
like it's trying to
aircraft
bounce back up
further
again.
because
Eesh.
they don't have the staffing to handle the usual flow of aircraft takeoffs and landings. So
I'm scared it's short.
how many aircraft they're allowing to go into certain airports, depending on the staffing of the air traffic controllers in the tower handling that airport.
Okay, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah, I might short it.
Not a good situation. In the meantime, everybody's talking about gold because gold prices continue to make new highs. So that's what I wanted to focus in on this morning. Look at gold. It's past $4,000 an ounce. And everyone's wondering why. And you know, that's the usual reasons. There's uncertainty. There's hedging of inflation risk. There's weakness in other currencies, all of it. But one interesting chart to note in the backdrop here is the central banks, the big money,
Order
are really
submitted.
buying.
I put a short on gold if it hits new all-time high.
Which central banks are buying. These are just many more than
Order
this.
filled.
There are plenty, but central banks you don't even think about. And I put
Yeah.
China in there because it is in the
I'm
top
short
5.
MAQ
And
for now at
China
210.
has
It
been
hits.
buying, adding to
Order
its
submitted.
gold in its foreign
Don't
exchange
follow me.
reserves for 11 months in a row. When you hear about
It's gonna be quick in and out
dollar
because this
diversification,
market is
this
weird.
it. When central banks are saying we want dollars in our reserves instead of fiat currencies or dollars and yen and euro, I mean that's something that people are reading into as part of a longer term trend of where the money is going, and it has been this unstoppable rally in the price of gold in the market.
I'm just looking at trying to chart, say, Bitcoin versus GLD, some gold ETFs. I mean, gold.
But gold was moving. Yeah, I just picked the wrong direction.
Sure, and Bitcoin's really correlated also with NASDAQ, but you could say, I mean, a lot of the Bitcoin believers say that it's rising for the same
Gold's
reason.
dipping.
Debasement
Let's
of
go.
currencies, fiscal largesse and irresponsibility, government
Oh,
shutdown,
yeah.
uncertainty,
I got out of my
inflation,
short on
all of these
NQ.
things you hear. It is notable that Bitcoin and gold
Dang.
are together.
That's
But
a good
what's
short
also
on gold. I
interesting
should have
is
listened to you.
that, the dollar, it's not just gold is rising because the dollar's falling. I mean, that has been most of the story this year with the dollar down 10%. But just in the last few weeks, dollar's strengthened. It's other currencies that are getting really weak. How about the
I don't
Japanese
know.
yen?
But
which
man,
has
just 5
sold
points
off
on gold.
sharply
It's like
on this new
$600-700
government and the new
easily.
leader coming into Japan who, wants to run the economy sort of in a high pressure way. Stimulus, bigger debt loads, right? That weakens the Japanese yen. Overnight, the New Zealand kiwi, the dollar there went to a 6-month low. In other words, weakness in currencies everywhere is kind of fueling this rise in gold prices. And just a reminder from Ray Dalio, who spoke at a conference yesterday, who's been always saying, for the last few years, you need to have gold in your portfolio. Excellent diversifier, he says. If you look at it from a strategic asset allocation perspective, you'd probably have something like 15% of your portfolio in gold because it is one asset that does very well when the typical parts of the portfolio go down. I think what has people buzzing even more, Carl, is that the typical parts of the portfolio are not
Order
going down.
submitted.
Stocks are at record highs. NASDAQ's doing really well. And yet, we have this gold trade working so well, which is typically a safe
Okay.
haven.
Yeah, it's
So
been
what
bouncing
that
at
tells us,
49 and
other
50 for the
reasons
last
gold
2
to rise.
hours.
What did Kaplan tell us yesterday? A red light? The
That might be a
action in
good
gold so
spot.
far this year?
But I won't
he
join
thinks
in.
it's worth paying attention to. Ken Griffin has been talking about this at Citadel.
Sorry.
There's clearly a need that people are seeing to diversify away from dollars, away from foreign currencies, even if they're taking risk in the market. And
Thank
seeing
you.
growth
Looks
ahead.
like it's gonna
Let's
drop.
bring in Scott Croner this morning, U.S. equity
Order
strategist at
submitted.
Citi, who joins us here at Post 9. Good to see you, Scott. Welcome. What is your year-end target, and do you feel pressure to lift it at this point?
Well, we're at
Order
6,600.
filled.
We put it on early August. At that time, we were ahead of sell-side consensus, and we felt we had a good 5% upside run into the end of the year. We're surpassed that now. We're at 6,700 plus.
Order submitted.
And I don't feel any real urgency to change that. I think the
Order
way we're
filled.
thinking about the fourth quarter setup is that heading into the Q3 reporting period, we're expecting very solid results, but unclear whether we're going to get sufficient upside surprise and estimate increases to support
Man,
the
that
action
NQ long on
short
the
term.
bot was
So the way
good.
we're playing the fourth quarter is look for some volatility into the Q3 reporting
I
period.
put someone
and then
along.
be prepared to come in and trade that typical year-end rally as we get further down the Fed rate cut path.
You think EPS growth for the quarter can match what we got in Q2?
Well, it's going to be tough, right? So right now, expectations for the index are about +8%. I don't have any issue with getting to that number, probably a little bit above. But what you got with Q2 results was that beat, but also
I might short on my cash later.
a raise going forward, which I think has really supported a lot of the equity market since then.
Yeah.
And where we're getting at here, when you look at what
Hopefully get new all-time high on gold.
the price action for this persistency of a beat and raise narrative, it's pretty aggressive. We've reflected that in some of our sector calls going into Q4. We recently lowered communication services to a market weight. It had been a 2.5-year overweight for me. So we're starting to allow for there's some element here where on a shorter term tactical perspective, so much is being priced in, it's going to be hard to give you enough incremental positives to support the price action short term.
In that sector, but what about in some of the other sectors? Do they look better set up?
Well, surprisingly, we're still overweight tech, and semis still look pretty good to us in this regard. Look at the financials. The banks are still in very good shape. So I think with the banks, we don't need a beat and raise as much as we need a persistence of just making or potentially beating the numbers. So I think broadly speaking across the market, there are areas where we think we're still in pretty good shape, but then there are those areas where
he said most of his money is
for future growth expectations.
on gold.
What do you see the biggest risk for the bullish call?
So when we look at the S&P 500,
you know, the way it moves, you can make a ton of money.
Half of the market cap is AI affected, and then you have the other half. So I have to make two market calls here. The AI affected portion and everything else. I'm probably a bit more concerned
And he
about
plays
the
cheek, like the big one, not the small one like us.
Again, I don't question the persistence of earnings growth over the next several years. It's just
The
a
big
question of
contracts.
the magnitude on a shorter term basis. Can you continue to feed the momentum that's been so important to this part of the tape? We think longer term
I
fundamentals
play
are in good shape.
MGC.
We're just trying to be a little bit more sensitive to some of the shorter term volatility.
Yeah, so because if I'm down, I can still average down, you know, add more and more. But if I play the big one, I can't keep averaging down.
Discretionary. You think it's related to, I don't know, year-end uncertainty regarding the shutdown, or worries about employment, something else?
Yeah, well, I think the labor condition comes up in like
Oh,
every
the
time
yeah,
discussion.
eval
It
for sure.
continues to be an issue alongside valuation. Those are probably the two that we're discussing most. And we've gone into Q4 leaning more into, let's call it the cyclical part of the market.
Yep.
That's going to be banks. It's going to be to a certain degree retailers, where it definitely is much more contingent on that rate trajectory continuing to come down, right? So we'll allow that short term, we're going to have some issues in terms of consumer sentiment, consumer spending patterns, but we think that the upper half of the income distribution is still in very good shape.
I'm short on NQ at 220 and 219.
Into the end of the year and the holiday season.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think going into late 26, your forecast for Bitcoin and Ether are pretty good, yes?
Not mine, but our teams. So we're looking for continued follow through there. It kind of comes back to your discussion earlier on how to think about your alts in terms of gold and crypto. And I think your commentary is spot on there. I mean, I think we just have to allow that. You have a very aggressive momentum-driven equity market, and so I think people don't want to miss that. So you're looking for your hedging opportunity, and the way we see it, in addition to central bank buying, as you mentioned, I think that those two asset classes become hedges of
The
choice.
gold charts looks like it wants to bounce more on the 3 minutes. I'm scared of short gold.
Equity market.
Do you think that investors are right to sort of brush
I know
past
you're
the
itching to
government
short.
shutdown the longer that it goes on?
I've been brushing past it.
I'm back to NQ now.
I think as we get into the Q3 reporting period, we'll hear more about traditional fundamentals.
I'm gonna touch gold after hours and then NQ the New York time.
The more it's going to have a tag-on influence, and so. But I'm not in a position to say how quickly we're going to get to a solution. But to your point, the longer it goes, the bigger of an issue it's going to be.
Well, and I do wonder about damage to the labor market, because now that there is discussion of more permanent federal layoffs.
Yeah, I just got out of my
the labor market is a whole separate discussion here. I mean, I like to point out that the S&P 500 hasn't grown employment at all over the past year. Okay, yet we've had sales per employee continue to go higher. So I've got this productivity thing that's supporting my fundamentals and my equity market views. A little bit different from what's happening on Main Street, where the broader economy is going to be navigating this labor situation for a while to come. At some point, it comes home to roost.
It goes getting stuck at 66 to keep getting hit back down.
The S&P 500 hasn't. What do you mean? The companies haven't.
If you look at the head count, and this is as of Q2 data, head count for the S&P 500, Q2 25 over Q2 24, unchanged.
Immigration flow.
In the quarter.
Technology. And government. The three good reasons why employment's done what it's done, right?
Yeah. So it's other parts of
Yeah, you memorized the amount too.
Some of this employment issue. What I'm getting at, Sarah, is that when you look at the S&P 5, when we start thinking through how the AI influence is going to play out, and the substitution effect for traditional labor, it's conceivable that we're looking at an S&P 500 that isn't showing material.
We don't need job growth to get.
Yep, I caught that one. I just got out.
Just throw one last thing.
2 more hundreds.
Wish that the 10-year
Ooh.
would play a little bit more.
It's coming down. Look at it. It hit 66.2 and then went down.
At least 2 Fed rate cuts from here. Our house economists think 4 sequential from here. I got to get to where lower Fed funds translates into more attractive mortgage rates. And that's still an issue that I think is to be determined. But there's no question in my mind.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to tell. 15 minutes still got room for the upside, but 3 minutes is towards overbought now. So we're going to get a dip later, hopefully. It's too strong today.
In the rate circumstance going forward. And so I think that's an important call for us as we go into 2026 as part of our broad argument, right? Which is we've been on for several months now.
You woke up late or you blew your account?
The way we're setting up here as we go into the end of the year, I want to keep this growth focus. I don't think this engine is.
I blew my Tradeday Cup challenge.
Into those areas that should theoretically benefit from a lower rate.
Good stuff, Scott. Thank you. As always, Scott Kroner.
Here's our roadmap for you for the rest of the hour. After the break, Jensen Huang opening up about that massive deal with Sam Altman and OpenAI and where the funding will come from. Those exclusive comments to CNBC next.
31.
Plus, a Sora subject, Hollywood up in arms about potential copyright infringement from OpenAI's video generator, and there could be competitive fallout from Meta and Alphabet as well. We'll talk about it.
Not anymore. I was earlier. I'm gonna short gold, hit 66.2 again. I'm gonna try it this time.
We'll tell you why.
Can't be scared.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
66.2.
Order submitted. The run continues.
Yeah. If you follow the bot long, you'll be up over 100 points, dude. Caught a little bit of it earlier. Is your Apex still pending, Lynn?
Watch this.
Same here.
Helio Air Broom, the lightweight, flexible broom that's sweeping the nation. Ordinary brooms only get half the mess, but Air Broom's Ultraflex blade lifts and grips and leaves nothing behind. Even pet hair comes right out of carpets easy. For any mess, wet or dry, big or small, Helio gets them all. Get your Helio Air Broom and we'll include our Helio dustpan, plus our Helio Mini that cleans carpet better than a vacuum. Get your Helio Air Broom 3-piece set at helioairbroom.com.
You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline.
Yeah.
You're serious about investing.
Oh, come down.
Right?
Introducing CNBC Plus.
You can
Squawk Box. If it hits 66, I'm gonna short.
Money in real time. Watch us later on CNBC Plus. And it's something that you can get for your phone, you can get for your TV. Just check it out.
With enhanced data.
What you're currently seeing is our CNBC Plus data.
You can see here around
Yeah, AQ is strong.
Enhanced data and the latest headlines.
Bell-to-bell global live stream.
Very informational. I like that.
You're always connected.
Look at that. Pretty good.
Start streaming at cnbc.com/plus.
You may get a little excited.
112. So scared along now.
Burlington saves you up to 60%.
Yeah, I need a pullback. It's already 100 points.
Will it be the low prices or the great brands? Burlington.
Stock will blow your account if they rug this shit.
Think of your
recognizing our teachers to supporting schools across our state. HEB loves helping our youngest Lone Stars shine bright.
Man, those foldable phone is $2,000. I thought it was cheaper than
Proud
that.
supporters of Texas teachers and schools.
Yeah, it's not even an iPhone. Holy cow.
Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. Tech outperforming so far this week, no surprise.
Shut your
Adding
ass
to
up.
gains on the month, even as concerns crop up about a potential bubble in AI. AMD's at the top of that list this week, up 30%
No comment.
on its multi-billion-dollar deal with OpenAI. Dell with some big gains as well this week as the
Say
company
what? I
raises
didn't do
long-term
anything.
revenue growth expectations. Meantime, Seagate and Western
All I do is
Digital
stay
taking
home and
away
trade. I
this
don't do
week, perhaps some
nothing.
profit taking in those names after big rallies in recent days.
Meantime, Nvidia CEO Jensen
But we're
Huang
going on a
joining
cruise
Squawk
though.
Box
We're
earlier
going on a
this morning to
cruise
discuss the
in
chipmaker's deal
December.
with OpenAI and why it's structured the way it is. Have a listen.
Galveston to the Caribbeans, not always.
Computing and networking and all that, everything that goes along with that. And they're going to
Yeah,
have to
3-4 times
they're gonna
now.
have to raise that money through, first of all, the revenues.
Because
which is growing
can't do Alaska
exponentially,
because I forgot what she told me.
equity or debt.
We did Alaska
and they
already.
gave us the opportunity
I
to,
want to do.
invest
Oh, I hate.
along,
I can't do Disney. There's no
alongside
casino.
other investors when the time comes. And
Yeah.
so it's not
I
something
want to
we
go
have
to
do,
like
but it's something that,
Thailand and stuff and do a
they're giving us
cruise over
the
there.
opportunity to do, and I would love to do.
Let's bring in Melius Research Head
Don't have
of
enough
Tech
time.
Research, Ben
No,
Reitzes,
no.
to discuss. I mean,
No lady
hearing
boy.
from Jensen, just the last time we've had you on
Alright,
in a few days.
looks like
there's
goes trying
been,
again.
more Jensen
Give me
bullish commentary,
66.
more deals announced. Usually around OpenAI, but we got the AMD one as well. Is there? Are you getting any questions from investors about whether it's getting to be toppy?
Oh, sure we are. Sure we are. And we're telling them to sit tight. I mean, this reminds me of a little bit in 1997 and even 1996. I mean, we had Alan Greenspan say irrational exuberance, and then we had a lot of strategists that were,
30 minutes over, so yeah, it has a little drop since 220 earlier. That's why I shorted. 15 minutes still got more upside, so a pullback and pump back up, I
We feel
guess.
like this got a long way to go. Of course, people get nervous when they've made a lot of money and there's sell-offs,
Nice,
but
man.
the fundamentals look good. Go
But you got
play
one
with
more day
Smart
left, right, for a
AI,
payout?
new social media app for generating video, and
Yeah.
then you know how much inferencing there needs to be. That app is incredible. OpenAI is going to need a lot of
Oh,
compute.
did you, when they email you, did they give you the date
NVIDIA.
on your stay for the condo?
And I know you don't necessarily cover all the hyperscalers. You cover the semiconductors, but
It's
I mean there are a lot of
Gambit didn't
potential
get it.
winners here. There's the Meta and Amazon, which hasn't done much this year, and some of the others. Or is it winner take all? Like, how do you see ultimately winner and loser?
Well, we cover actually
Ooh,
AI
that drop.
in general, and semis are part of it. We also cover Microsoft and Oracle and many others.
Yeah,
including Dell.
Matt.
And we see a lot of opportunities to win here. In semis, we're kind of recommending the Elite 3 now, which are NVIDIA, Broadcom,
Ooh, look at that drop on NQ. Hey, your 112 might hit.
trillion by the end of this decade, and maybe even higher now. And,
Yeah.
all this inferencing and then
Yeah, but the
autonomous
3 minutes,
vehicles and robots
that
are really gonna
oversold
still
thing
build out
is
the
spot on there.
Sit tight. A lot of these apps are coming. We also think that
Long? You
Dell's
sure?
going to have a role as enterprises roll out AI. We just pumped our target there to $200, and that stock's doing great and getting new life. And then CoreWeave.
I'm
is
just waiting for gold to
a
die.
Coming hyperscaler that we're recommending, who is allied with Jensen. But going to get a lot of this overflow, and they're doing a great
Yeah,
job. I think a lot more deals to come. And
64, 65 we should have. Should I change it down
next week
from 66 to
we've seen
65?
a lot of rumors and speculation about their margins,
Order
and we think
canceled.
Oracle's going to probably raise guidance.
Order
and we'd be
submitted.
buyers there into that analyst day next
I'll
week.
put 65. It's
You
evals. I
mentioned your
don't
note on
care.
Dell this morning with Jim, Ben, and their long-term guidance is remarkable. I just wonder, and given the action in IBM earlier in the week, this theme of all sort of legacy tech finding a way to play in this space, what do you make of it, and how would you determine what other legacy names could do something similar?
Well, Carl, as you know, and from talking to Jim, is one of our calls the last couple of years has been AI is eating software, and it's a complete unwinding of software is eating the world. And so you're seeing the SaaS companies become the hardware companies, and the hardware companies become more like the SaaS companies, and the semis, obviously. And and we're seeing a complete value shift that is revaluing hardware. We're in the early innings for some of the legacy tech. You've seen the run in the HDD stocks recently, but IBM, Dell are getting a new lease on life. IBM's doing a great job, probably in quantum. We see that later this decade, but they're also reinventing themselves around infrastructure software, which is not SaaS, and it's priced by the instance. But Dell has a role as enterprises pick up AI.
I wanted to pump a little bit more so I can read short.
Plus, Dell's a cheap stock, and Michael's been on this. He's got a cheap stock. He's buying back stock. I mean, we only went to a 15 multiple. I mean, these guys used to get
225 and all short. Oh man, look at
a lot
gold.
of these hardware companies get over, market multiple or better, and the SaaS companies become.
I know, but when we get into short, it's gonna moon.
Old hardware and go to
You just
single-digit
know it.
multiples. I'm not kidding. I mean,
Little
that's
devil.
how much disruption there is.
I know you have I think you have a hold on Intel that's been, sort of a long time, sort of disappointing one that's had a new lease on life. And Jensen was talking about it this morning and saying, we're lovers, not fighters. And you could see a future where they both win together here. Does the recent deal and some of the investments in Intel change your mind?
I mean, that was a tough call. If you do too much work, you get bogged down into AMD gaining share in servers and in the minutia and not the deal making. And that's sort of, it was very hard to predict that Jensen was going to do this. But look, Lip-Bu-Tan, we're big fans. We've known him before. And
Your short goal?
Somebody people like. And people want to work with this guy, give him a chance. There's some
I still have mine at 65. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, oh well.
Sue, who's a great CEO in her own right. Look, Intel, we're watching.
I think it might hit this time.
Surge here. It might take a rest for a little while because, I don't think the numbers are there near term. But with the backing of the U.S. government, which I think was a really nice move by the Trump administration, and you can't count them out. You can't count them out, but they really don't have an AI strategy that's.
Let me see the 3 minutes on gold.
All right, Ben. Always good to get your take.
Yeah, it looks like it might go
It's
up.
a pleasure. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks, guys, for having us.
I would imagine it's an exciting time. Ben Reitzes from Milius.
Meantime, BMW share is sinking after becoming the latest
Order filled.
There you go. Order filled.
With pressure on this JPM downgrade to hold. We'll get to those stories in a minute. Meantime, the OpenAI risk to big tech names like Meta and Google, with one analyst
Can die now, go.
2026 will be one of the most pivotal years in recent tech
I think it's gonna go up to new all-time highs, to be honest, but I have a lot of buffer on it.
We'll explain later this hour.
No, I'm not getting out yet. Yeah, I put 62 to get out.
Is sponsored by Sector Spider ETFs.
I'll average down more. I only have 3 MNQ. Not MNQ, but MGC. Dang. Still going.
Crypto staking just hit Wall Street. For the first time ever, staking rewards are available through a US-listed ETF. Introducing SSK, the Rex Osprey Sol plus staking ETF. Solana exposure with staking rewards built in. Convenient, cost-effective. Solana, staked on your behalf. All through a simple ETF. SSK from Rex Osprey. Not suitable for all investors. Investors should carefully review the fund's prospectus for objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit rexshares.com to obtain it and read carefully before investing. Distributed by Foresight Fund Services.
Did you know that your life insurance policy is an asset that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO of Abacus Life. And for almost 20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspays.com. And in just seconds, you can learn what your policy might be worth. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Age-related memory decline? Meet new Cunol Brain Health, the first and only tablet to combine 2 high-absorption ingredients, clinically shown to improve
On what,
memory,
NQ?
focus, attention, and more. Trust Cunol for more
It
comprehensive
still has
brain
a,
health
it
support.
still have the overbought area still, so it's shown it's supposed to go down.
Money's working hard
But,
for me, and I
you
know
know.
I can access it anytime I need it. It's very simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
I wish I wasn't afraid to smile.
I wish I could get implants.
I wish I knew who to trust.
I'm not looking for another quick fix.
I want a smile I know will last.
ClearChoice smiles are made to stand the test of time. They're built by dental implant experts, backed by 20 years of pioneering research and a lifetime warranty on premium arches. Our smiles are built for life. Schedule your free consultation today.
When I started Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses, I didn't
Yes,
know how to
ma'am.
turn all this fancy prettiness into a classy-looking logo. But GoDaddy Aero does, with its magical AI powers. It not only creates it, it slaps that sweet thing everywhere.
Oh, you know, I gotta do QQQ puts. Forgot about that.
CNBC. Live ambitiously.
Every day, I'm checking the markets throughout the trading session, working the phones, talking to sources to share insights, information, and all of the details that you need to make money.
Closing bell overtime for Eastern and streaming on CNBC Plus.
We are about 30 minutes here into the hour. Here are three big movers we're watching. BMW shares under pressure after the company cut its 2025 earnings forecast, citing delays in U.S. and German customs refunds and continued weakness in China. Meantime,
Bots
data
long
streaming
Nvidia.
company, software maker Confluent reportedly exploring
Dang,
a sale,
I don't know if I
according
should.
to Reuters,
I shouldn't
sending
get
those shares up
QQQ
double
puts.
digits. And then keep an eye
I'm
on
not gonna
FedEx
get it.
today. JP Morgan downgrades the name to neutral from overweight, citing competitive headwinds, also weak profitability in Europe, and concerns around the cost of separating the company's freight business. Stock down a little more than 0.5%.
Let's get a CNBC News update this morning with Leslie Picker. Morning, Leslie.
Hey, Carl. Former FBI Director James Comey entered a not guilty plea moments ago in federal court. He's facing charges of making a false statement to Congress and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. A federal grand jury indicted Comey last month after President Trump led a public campaign to prosecute him. Comey helped spark Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. President Trump saying in a social media post today that Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, quote, should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. The Democratic leaders are fighting the deployment of hundreds of National Guard troops in Chicago to address what the president called out-of-control crime. And star athlete Cristiano Ronaldo is now the first soccer player to become a billionaire. That's according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The boost in wealth came from his latest contract extension in June with Saudi Arabian team Al Nassr. That is reportedly worth more than $400 million. Bloomberg says his net worth now stands at $1.4 billion. It's good to be Ronaldo, Sarah.
Yes, absolutely. It was going to be either him or Messi, I guess.
Yes.
Thank you, Leslie. After this, OpenAI jumping into the social media space with an app powered by its latest Sora video model. What that means for big tech and also for
Are you in a
Hollywood's
position?
creator economy next. And then later, home borrowers piling into a riskier
Oh.
kind of loan. We'll tell you what it is and why when Squawk on the Street comes right back.
Every morning, even before the markets open, I'm planning my moves that I make throughout the day. When you're actively trading, the fees really start to add up.
There we
and
go.
That
We're
eats
green now.
directly into your potential returns. I found that Public is really the only platform that offers rebates on your option trades, which help offset those costs.
What's up, man?
For me, when it comes to investing, timing is
Oh,
everything.
not a man. What's
and
up, Mughal?
Public allows me to get a step ahead.
I didn't see what it was.
Is
Where you
this your
been?
dream of retirement? How about this sweet deal? I like fishing. Or is this a little more your style? Retiring well isn't a guarantee, it's a goal. It's easy when markets are going up. But what about when they're not? That's why you need this.
Call for Fisher's Retirement Survival Kit.
You're pretty much done trading, right?
To surviving market volatility, our stock market outlook, plus the Fisher Investments difference. 3 indispensable guides. Yours free for calling 1-800-213-5317.
Fisher Investments' disciplined approach will help see you through the market's ups and downs and give you the confidence you need to reach a comfortable retirement. And our fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Call now
Drop
for
a
your
little
free
bit more.
retirement survival
Come
kit.
on, Cole.
1-800-213-5317.
See if your dream retirement is on track.
If your portfolio is $1 million or more, call Fisher today. Call 1-800-213-5317.
Need your investments to work harder? Options
Order
can offer
submitted.
much higher returns than stocks, cost less, and help reduce risk. Look at this stock versus options trade on the
No,
same
just
security over the
barely
same period
trading.
of time.
There's
The
nothing
stock
much to
return
trade.
can't even compare.
Movement
That's why in
sucks.
today's market, trading stocks alone, it's not an option.
Yeah,
Learn our
I
beginner-friendly strategies
short
in
at
our new book.
225.
Get
Just
your
got
free
out.
copy today at itsnotanoption.com. That's itsnotanoption.com.
Make it a little
Yeah, there we go. I might get out now.
Order filled.
Don't get out. I'm in a better position. I'm gonna put 67
Order
now.
submitted. Order canceled.
Let me size the 5 MMC.
Order submitted.
Yeah, what team go now? Look, 62. See? I should have held longer. Nice. Nice work. Good job.
I told you so.
To throw the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest
See, we didn't
quality
panic.
and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. We hand split and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB.
Introducing Sports Center for you. Personalized every single day.
That's a good short though.
Now available on the ESPN app. Powered by your favorites.
There's growing backlash now from Hollywood studios after OpenAI introduced its new Sora video model last week and said that the new model would use entertainment companies' copyrighted material unless they opted out. Julia Borston joins us now with how Hollywood is fighting back against AI. This has been one of the nightmares, Julia, for them.
Yeah, such a complex situation here, Sarah. Sources across the movie studios tell me that executives were outraged that OpenAI thought it could ask them to opt out of their intellectual property's inclusion in Sora because that's just not how copyright law works. Now, since then, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman shifted tone, saying he will give rights holders much more granular controls. But we hear studios are trying to figure out how much Sora could violate their copyright. A source tells us
You don't have any pro? Google? I thought you had like a payouts on a pro the other day.
With backdoor prompts that don't explicitly name a protected character. We prompted Sora to, quote, create a superhero that wears a black cape and is saving a woman from a burning building.
Got you. Just keep breathing. We're almost out.
I thought no one would come.
Not on my watch. Hold on tight.
Thank you.
You're safe now.
Now, it quickly created this video that looks and sounds very similar to Batman. Sora did block many of my queries, including an attempt to create a Garfield-like character. Requests for a fat orange cat eating lasagna
You've blown a lot.
violated
Remember,
Sora's
10 per month.
guardrails. I got a video of a tabby cat licking a lasagna. So it does seem like changes have been made to the tool since it launched.
Damn.
But sources tell me that the studios are watching right now to see how OpenAI addresses their concerns. They'd much rather prefer to negotiate rather than sue. I'm also hearing that Altman's offer to share revenue with studios if their IP is used doesn't appeal to many media companies who want to control how their characters show up. Now, since Universal Pictures, Disney, and Warner Brothers sued Midjourney and Minimax, we know there is the potential for another lawsuit. One concern in entertainment
Order filled.
Ooh, I'm short on gold again.
on generative AI outputs.
Yeah, 67. I didn't think it's going to hit.
Question of whether Sora used copyrighted materials for training data. Now, OpenAI does say that all of the policies put in place around Sora do adhere to fair use.
64 to get out.
Quite a
Order
complicated issue,
submitted.
Carl.
What news?
Question, Julia. It clearly knew what you meant when you said superhero, and it didn't get that idea from nowhere. Julia Borston looking at this new era of video generation.
A whole bunch of feds
Anytime
today.
Hollywood studios aren't the only content creators threatened by Sora and AI-generated videos. Mr. Beast, who runs the most subscribed channel on YouTube, as you know, wrote in an X post this week, when AI videos are just as good as normal videos, I wonder what that will do to YouTube and how it'll impact the millions of creators currently making content for a living.
Well, let me get the raffle tickets ready for this Tradeday giveaway.
Platforms is Roth Capital Partners senior research analyst Rohit Kulkarni. Rohit, it's an amazing conversation we're having here. You actually break it down on the e-commerce side as well with their other product, but on the social media side, how much of a threat do you think they could become?
Hey, thanks for having me. I think the way social media companies will start to think about it is how do we improve trust? How do we improve time spent? And how does that translate into ad dollars? I think Sora's app, given the cameos, given the way they are starting engagement, solves the first two problems. Improving trust amongst users and making it more personalized. I feel those two are big anchors for Sora to succeed. How quickly they scale and how quickly that scale begets into ad dollars is remains to be seen. But the starting point always of the wheel is how many users and how trusted those users are of the platform. And that's a very big positive that Sora has solved already.
You do say that you expect them to respond, the Googles, the Metas, the Amazons in some way. What would be a reasonable
Yo,
short-term
Gamma,
response
get
here?
your raffle tickets on YouTube.
In my opinion, as
Ooh, I'm up a lot.
Order
filled.
Large big platforms can do is
A
provide
nice
incentives to
$300.
Order
advertisers, to
submitted.
creators. Two big pillars of their fundamentals
Yeah,
that
yeah. For
will make
the
their platforms
Tradeday
even
giveaway.
more stickier. The way they can do that is provide more credits to advertisers, provide more incentives to creators, and provide more tools to creators that are, in my opinion, somewhat they can copy very quickly what Sora is offering to a normal creator. So I think there are ways in the next 6 to 9 months. I see similar tools, incentives, promotions to make these
Don't
platforms
forget, Jack,
stickier. And as more time passes, it becomes
the
harder
YouTube
of
giveaway.
a hurdle for a startup like Sora to
It's
overcome
the
that scale.
Tradeday. It's a good.
What about
Traday's
the
a
other
good
players,
company.
like a
Daily
Reddit, for
payouts.
instance, which is actually down 5% today, and does not seem to like this news that OpenAI
Go.
is going to be competing on social media, and it does not
I
have the
know.
scale
I
or
was
the
in it.
technological capability that a Meta has.
Yeah, absolutely. I think then
I'm telling you,
for
your
other
level is
players, I
good.
would
That
call it
65,
Reddit,
67. I'm
Twitter,
just gonna keep shorting it.
Pinterest, Snapchat, likes like that, slightly below TikTok. Those players now need to hunker down and figure out what's their core value prop to both
Yeah, don't forget
consumers
Google.
and to their advertisers. I think,
Should I DM
and
Box too?
so long as they stick to their core value prop and ensure
Even
that
though Box is you.
usage engagement is unchanged, I think that will help them sustain this kind of almost like a TikTok moment. Think about what happened
Yeah.
to social media when TikTok rammed between 2019, 2020, 2021. And
Those
they
Xanax,
took a
man.
lot of eyeballs. They
They
took
mess
a lot
you
of
up.
time spent on those on that new platform. So now this is a new TikTok coming through. So the
No,
next
it
12
is.
to
It
18
is.
months is something that the subscale platforms will feel the pressure of how much time
Yeah, but
will
never
they spend
Google.
on.
Think about
I
it.
guess one question is whether or not a creator can be
That
as
video is
compelling
just
and
anybody.
draw as
Can be
much of an
anybody.
audience if the video is AI native, right? I mean, to what degree can that be worth watching? And it also requires a fair amount of creativity, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the risk to professional creators like the one that
What, the
Steven
Aladdin
shared, the
video?
happens to creators. I think there are these creators who have done it
Oh, you
on
did?
a quasi
Anybody can do that.
part-time basis. Probably
I'm telling you to
they
shut
have
the
the
fuck up.
greatest risk that they earn something in the range of 100 to
Oh no, I
150
don't. I
maybe
don't want to hear
$1,000
it.
every month. Those are the ones that have the greatest risk
Fucking
here.
voice
The
changer.
professional creators who have the true creativity, I think they will harness AI. They'll harness the power of AI in a way that they become even more
Like
of an
what? You sure?
important contributor to these social media platforms.
Well, maybe we'll tackle the e-commerce side later and what that might do to item curation and
You've been
margins.
taking
Rohit
drugs.
Kulkarni, thanks so much. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I mean, we didn't even get into deepfakes, which is another sort of issue here to discuss. When we come back, new numbers from the mortgage market.
Because he's in the UK, so when we're
into
sleeping, he can
riskier
actually
loans.
monitor the room.
Also, do not forget, join me next week. The Invest in America Forum. It's coming to
Taking
Washington,
ban.
D.C. October 15th. It's a first-of-its-kind gathering convening investors and policymakers.
And we don't have many
CEOs
people
from
here,
different
so
industries,
it's not
all
an
talking
issue.
about why they're doubling down on investment in America. You can visit cnbcevents.com/invest to learn more and to actually attend. We'll be right back.
If you're on Medicare and you get this,
That's your drop.
you could end up with this. Unexpected out-of-pocket costs. which for those on Medicare or soon to be is a good reason to take charge of your health care. So consider this: an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan from United Healthcare.
He's such a dick.
Because Medicare alone doesn't pay for everything. And what it doesn't pay for, like deductibles and copays, could really add up.
Yep.
Thousands of dollars a year. Medicare supplement plans help by paying some of what Medicare doesn't and making your out-of-pocket costs a lot more predictable. Call United Healthcare today and ask for your free decision guide. Learn more about plan options and rates to fit
They
your
keep
needs.
bouncing too.
Now, if you like this, greater freedom.
3 minutes say it
Medicare
wants to drop.
supplement plans have no networks and no referrals needed. See any doctor, any specialist, anywhere in the U.S., as long as they accept Medicare patients.
Gold been annoying.
These types of plans
The 15 has upside still.
when
So
traveling in the U.S.
looking for a dip.
Your
I want to
plan
dip
goes
by
with
just like you. I just don't know
anywhere you
where.
go in the
'Cause you
country.
keep saying 112. And I keep saying that's scaring me.
Medicare supplement plans,
Bots.
the AARP name, are plans endorsed
Oh,
by
okay. Because
AARP.
bot's long at
Call
94.
United Healthcare today
So
for your
bot had
free
a
decision
really
guide.
good long.
So, if you're on Medicare and want less out-of-pocket costs
Yeah,
and more peace of
94 is
mind,
like another 100
consider adding
points.
this, an AARP Medicare supplement plan. Take charge of your healthcare today. Just use this or this to call United Healthcare about an AARP Medicare supplement plan.
Morning, Ices.
Hey, small business owners, pickleball's kind of like bookkeeping and accounting, right? Lots of strategy, lots of effort, and if you don't have the right partner, you just won't win. It's time to team up with a winning partner. Call Zendu. And let's
So
get that
people
win
saying
today.
it might be
Zendu,
no
the official
CPI
bookkeeper and
next week.
accountant for small businesses.
It won't be hard to find
If
someone
that's
to fix
true,
this.
it's gonna
But
suck for
before I
me.
started Angie's
I
List,
got so many
different
evals
story.
at the
A lot has
gamble.
changed for us at Angie since then, but the issues facing homeowners are the same. And the solution too, skilled local pros. Get started.
No way I
at
can trade
Angie.com.
300K normally.
What made you confident that you could do something that hadn't been done before?
I have no fear of failure.
Trailblazing women changing the game.
One of my favorite pieces of advice, think about what your boss's boss needs. Leadership can look in many, many
I hope you win,
forms. It
Gambit,
really
so you can
does
actually
come
try
down to trusting
Tradeday. I
yourself,
keep telling you to buy
you
it
just gotta
last month.
think big to accomplish big things.
Julia Borston hosts CNBC Changemakers and Power Players. New episodes every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, because you don't want to be in jail yet.
While overall mortgage
Those veterans
has
40%
weakened,
off,
there's a
but
growing trend when it
okay.
comes to home borrowers, adjustable rate mortgages. Our Diana Olick is here with that story. Morning, Diana.
Good
Hey,
morning, Carl.
Google.
Yeah, mortgage demand fell again
Shut up.
last week, even as interest rates eased
Shut up.
slightly. The average rate on the
Actually,
30-year
send me
fixed
that,
fell to
Gambit. I want to hear it.
6.13% from 6.46, and that's for loans with 20% down or conforming
Gambit, send it to me.
Applications to refinance fell 8% for the week, and applications for a mortgage to buy a home
Good.
fell
I won't
1%.
tell.
All of this according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Now, interesting
The
in
fuck
this
Google could
report,
not do
the
nothing.
share of applications for adjustable rate loans rose to 9.5%
Google, can you send it to me?
from just above 8% the week before. Now, the average rate for a 5-year ARM fell to 5.49% from 5.74%, so it is a considerable savings from the 30-year fix. This also happened
look
in
at that drop, see?
mid-September when the 30-year fix dropped sharply from
Let me know when you
where it
long,
was,
Gambit.
but
I'll
only to
join out.
6.39%, so not that far from where we are now. Still, back then,
Yes.
ARM demand jumped
Gold
to
not
nearly
doing anything.
13% of all applications, the highest share since 2008. So clearly, current borrowers and buyers are looking for savings wherever they can get it, given still high home prices. Important to note, though, ARMs can be fixed for up to 10 years, and today's ARMs are underwritten much more strictly than the ones that led up to the subprime mortgage crash. Still, there is, of course, some risk because these loans will eventually adjust to the market rate, which could be higher. Of course, it could also be lower. Back to you guys.
Hey, your Vietnamese
We mentioned
face.
earlier this morning this RenMac data point today looking at purchase applications, Diana. You look out over the last 6 months, and they're down 2.4 annualized. The market just, it's not quite enough, is it?
No, and it's all about affordability. Look, home prices just haven't given way yet. They've eased a little bit slightly, and supply
You can
is
try
actually, we
along.
thought it was coming up.
Just
but then
size down.
sellers
Don't
started
go
delisting
too
and
heavy,
taking homes
dude.
off the market, so there's still not enough supply to bring those prices back
Just
down
3 NQ.
markedly, and so it's just a hands-down affordability issue.
50-point flush and it's gone.
As you've been
Yo,
covering,
just
thank
3
you,
NQ.
Diana Olick. After the break, gold's rise above $4,000 an ounce, grabbing Wall Street's attention today.
Wait, what's the max you can get on a 150?
I would tell you gold being up almost 40%
Wow.
year to date.
I think the most I've played is
that should
4.
be getting our attention. That's a red light that we ought to be paying attention to.
Up next, the Wall Street Journal's Greg Ip on
Order filled. Order filled.
Oh my god, my goal is short again.
We'll be right back.
Order submitted.
Yeah, I keep shorting at 67.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance.
Come on, baby bear, join up. Let's
Trying
go.
to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, Select Quote found John a
Oh, you missed out. Look at that. You missed out. Another $200. I sized up too.
Go to selectquote.com
Yeah,
now
I'm
and
going
get the
back. I'll do
insurance your family needs.
67.5.
Order submitted.
You can afford.
Yeah, fuck you, NQ.
We shop, you save.
I like go now.
You buy low, sell high.
Alright, what's
jump
up,
on
Milk?
that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. You're not a child playing a game. This is grown-up business. The real thing. You know wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Welcome to the Now Way to Network. They switched to Juniper's AI native network.
So you don't recommend to go, or no? You don't recommend to pay for that, right?
At a higher gear. That's the Now Way to Network at work with real AI, putting you in the fast lane.
October 15th, join CNBC's AI Summit in Nashville, where visionary leaders and innovators explore
40
AI's
thing.
impact on work, business, and society. Register now at cnbcevents.com/AI.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality
I like
we
that,
share,
though.
and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's raising
So it's
canes.
it was windy and what is it, tornado thing? The scene?
With
You can-
Alphafutures Insurance.
That's pretty cool.
We're locally focused and community driven, here to support small businesses with flexible, customized coverage.
We have smaller risk appetites for that sort of thing.
Call Albanker Insurance and save today.
Real apples? Oh, fake.
I started posting math lessons on TikTok. I
Okay.
went from a class of 30 to teaching millions. Now it's parents, teachers, all finding new ways
Okay,
to
how about
connect
that?
with math.
You got out, right, Gambit, or no?
Harbor Freight tools keep
You were up
getting
6
better
points.
with time. Better performance.
Yeah.
Better durability. Better value. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Get ready. Unbeatable deals are coming soon at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale.
Baby Bear, check your DM and get into the YouTube thing if you didn't yet.
Another record high just this morning. Our next guest is out with a new piece in the Wall Street Journal about gold's rally, saying it points to eroding faith in central banks. Let's bring in Wall Street
You
Journal.
can tap it again,
Chief
I'll let you
Economics
know.
Commentator Greg Ip. That's nothing new, right? That gold bugs have wanted to diversify away from fiat currencies. What's interesting now, Greg, is that it's happening as stocks rise. And even some dollar strength here as well. What do you make of that?
Just do it again. Be safe, man. Got
Yeah, so
10 minutes
first
left
of all,
on it.
it's entirely possible that the rally in gold is kind of
Well,
like a
that's
rally
where you
on
on
everything
crack
else that's
sometimes.
going on from crypto to AI stocks, that it's partly a speculative frenzy. You know, I am the last person to judge on whether gold is overvalued, but it has a
Yeah,
bit
it's
of a
long at
tough
90.
feel to it right now. But if we want to get into the fundamentals,
I don't play
think,
NQ
you know,
anymore.
as you
I mean
said,
gold.
It has traditionally been a hedge against a weak dollar, the other sort of classic reserve currency.
I'm
And
waiting
there's
for
been
the
a lot of reasons to worry about the
67.5.
dollar this year, from Trump's trade war,
If it
which
goes
seemed to
up and I
signal
die,
US
I die.
withdrawal as guarantor of the world's economic stability, and its attacks on the Federal Reserve.
I
which
told you
all
the 3
else
minutes
equals,
has more
you know,
downside, dude.
essentially easier monetary and
Should have
higher,
taken a
much
profit.
easier policy and higher inflation in the years ahead. But what's
You might want to
interesting,
cut it soon
I
if it
think,
doesn't
this
go
week
up.
is that, as you said, the dollar's been relatively stable recently.
Your short
But
go.
look at the election
65 is a
in
good
Japan,
spot too, Google.
and you have a new prime minister
Now
there
let it
that
go up to
sounds kind of Trump-like
67.5.
in her criticism of the central bank there, raising
Oh, he
interest
got
rates.
approved?
So
What?
one could look at this rally in gold
You're
as
still
not just
pinned
a
in.
hedge against
Mara
the
got
dollar,
approved.
but a hedge against all so-called fiat currencies like the yen.
Yeah, it's Apex. He just posted.
Yeah, so
Good shit, man.
do you see Bitcoin rising for the same reason?
I think they're gonna deny mine, but
You know,
it's
Bitcoin
okay.
has a little bit of that flavor too, right? So Bitcoin is kind of like digital gold, right? It doesn't have any income the way gold does.
He's really
it's seen
nice.
as a hedge against, you know, really bad
Nice guy.
outcomes and so forth. Historically, though, at least to the extent there is a history for Bitcoin, it has tended to sort of move with stocks. It feels like it's more of a risk-on asset. Gold, the case for gold typically was that it was a hedge against all these other asset classes, especially in times of high inflation. But as you said at the outset, this rally comes to stocks themselves for gold. So whether that historic hedging property persists in the next few years, I think remains to be seen.
I mean, overall, the reasons you laid out for why gold is rallying is you know, bigger policies on the fiscal front, more expansive policies on the monetary front. Some might call irresponsible, you know, spending and easy policy. All of that isn't ultimately good. So, is this a warning sign for stocks in the long term?
I hope it gets 90 so Gambit can get out.
You know, the world and for us as for economies in general. I mean, look, it's no secret that
check my
the
Apex,
world in
see if it's
general is
approved or not.
awash in government debt, huge levels of government debt. Japan around 200% of GDP, the United States closing in on 100% of GDP, and enormous deficits and no political will to address those. And so should we be shocked to hear that politicians are looking for the easy way out? To essentially monetize the debt, inflate our way out. And so I think that's the kind of thing. Just look at the fundamentals out there between the high debts, the low growth, and the populist politics that are taking over every major developed market. You've got to worry about the essential integrity of currencies and the central banks that stand behind them. You know, that's a good story for explaining why gold is going up. Whether that's a good reason to own gold at $4,000, I don't know. But
okay, no rush.
Question you ask, it is absolutely a warning sign to pay attention to.
Greg,
dang, I didn't hit my freaking 67.5.
In recent months that it was potentially a way to address the deficit or the debt.
Yeah,
and you would think that would have been bond market
I should have left the 67.
Now we're starting to here, well, maybe we'll use some of the tariff revenue on a farm bailout. Maybe we'll use some of the tariff revenue to rescue supplemental nutrition assistance. Would you expect the bond market to respond
looks like it's gonna die.
Order canceled.
Oh, I think there's a couple. I think, Carl, first of all, you're absolutely right to point out that if Trump's tariffs were all that were on the table, then you could say that's deficit friendly and bond market friendly. But as you say, the president seems to have a bunch of other ideas about how to spend that money. I've heard him say we should send out $1,000 to $2,000 tariff dividend checks to folks.
Yeah, make sure you get 25 points, okay? You need that to win.
Healthcare. And even if all that revenue from tariffs went to deficit reduction, we'd still have a deficit in around the 5.5% of GDP level, and the debt would still be rising.
You can't do any more TPT, Google. Spend your money somewhere else. Do Tradeday, because you like the daily payouts.
There's no seriousness there about dealing with
use code BUGATTI, okay, Google?
These kind of like, you know,
yeah, I'll spell it out for you since you don't know how to spell it.
Like forcing the Fed to keep interest rates lower.
All right, Greg, we got to leave it there, but I'll throw one more stat. Gold surpassing the euro to become the second largest global reserve asset after the dollar recently, which shows you how much stocking up there's been. Greg Ip from the Wall Street Journal. Thank you.
Shut the egg up. You hungry?
When we come back, the view from the IMF. Managing Director Gail Gaver is going to weigh in on global growth, the impact of tariffs, and why she says uncertainty is the new normal when Money Movers begins in a minute.
Oh, so you corporate types are rock stars?
Well, that's as ridiculous as rock stars being corporate types.
Workday's AI
What's going on, Milo?
all rock stars.
I mean, we get Twitter stuff.
Habit. Proceed.
So, that's a slide. Any questions?
And now with Workday, we can manage our people and AI agents. I'm sorry. Who are they? Oh, interns.
We're interns.
Good night!
I'll see you tomorrow.
These bills are crazy.
Order filled.
Oh shoot, my short is in.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life
Order
insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to cover for cash, even a term policy.
I'm gold. Oh no, I'm doing gold. I don't touch any.
Order submitted.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call
Dude, what the
Trader
fuck?
today at 800-476-0100.
You with a snitch.
FundedTradeDirect.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-888-517-8568 and you are guaranteed
There you go, Gambit.
$10 gold Liberty coin minted by the US.
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna blow.
With extremely
Okay.
limited availability.
You're green, Gambit.
Call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-888-517-8568. Call now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-888-517-8568 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-888-517-8568.
Order canceled.
Oh man.
Too boring.
I need to check the 3 minutes on gold.
No.
Oh man, that does not look good for me.
The worst. Ooh, that's so bad. Rein it in, Mary. There it is.
Naming a business? Hard. Swagging it out? Easy. Move your business forward with swag you can count on from Custom Ink.
CNBC's Delivering Alpha returns. A live event with exclusive access to the world's best investors. Get your
9
tickets
minutes
now at deliveringalpha.com.
Good Wednesday morning again. Welcome to Money Movers. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla, live from Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Today, the macro view on inflation, trade, the outlook for the global economy. We'll discuss it all first on CNBC with the head of the IMF, Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva.
Green on your long.
Freight fears fueling a FedEx downgrade and
Order
price target
submitted.
cut. Could the company's earnings and guidance be at risk?
And call it the AI industry's new bank. We'll explore the financial web coming from NVIDIA.
Bye-bye.
Right now, we did get that 7-day win streak broken yesterday, but for now, things are working once again, although communication services is a little bit lower. Energy as well. VIX is still a little elevated.
Are you still short gold, Google?
Than 16, and the 10-year has come back a bit, revisiting 4-1 this morning.
We'll stick with the markets, bring in our next guest who's closely watching the risks around a potential AI bubble, bullish instead on opportunities across Europe and Japan. Joining us now is Jim, co-head of asset allocation, Ben Inkler. You think there's a bubble happening in the U.S. market, Ben?
We're certainly seeing lots of evidence of bubble-like behavior in
you did
the
that?
AI space. We see
nice.
kind of circular
I might need to reset the $100 now. 300 from blowing. Yeah, I never got out of the gold position, remember? It came back up.
I don't know. It might be, but we're certainly seeing evidence
It's
of
gonna be resetting soon.
And we're much more excited about other areas of the market where you don't.
Yeah, $100 is cheap. I can do that 10 times, and I still can't pass.
Views about the future in order to make good money.
Gambit, you gotta trade for me. Come over.
And Japan, because they've both rallied nicely on this idea that
You went long at all-time high, man. I hope you blow,
and
Google.
the economies weren't entering recession and didn't take tariffs as
What you
poorly
say,
as
Gambit?
everyone thought.
Yeah, so, the hit from tariffs has not been as extreme as people had feared, and a lot of these markets were just
You got out, right?
really, really cheap, particularly the value stocks, whether that's
I know you were sweating.
or industrials or some of the pharma names in Europe, just got to very, very cheap levels. They're still trading at really very big discounts to what we see in the U.S., and we just think the prices are too cheap, and you can get good returns out of the cash flows from the corporations.
Just take your time. Don't rush it for day one.
If there were to be an interruption or an inflection in the amount of AI capex,
You do that.
that the U.S. would be vulnerable to recession.
Go ahead, buy it. Go buy it. Buy the dip.
The U.S. right now has very much a two-speed economy. We've got the AI build-out, which is going
There's your dip, Gambit. Go ahead.
incredibly strongly, and the rest of the economy, which is pretty close.
The 3
to
minutes
stall.
still got room to go on, to go down a little bit more.
A hiccup in AI, I think it's really quite likely that we.
See, that 112 is gone, right? It's not on the book map.
I don't know that that's going to happen.
Alright.
But certainly the
No, I think we're
economy
gonna
has become
pump.
very
That's 15
dependent
minutes to
on
get the
that
upside.
huge amount of AI capex, and if that slows down, the economy could very well be vulnerable.
There's certainly a lot of excitement, but you know, most of the folks we talk to, from semiconductor
So you have a worse
analysts to,
position than
clearly
earlier.
those who are biased like Nvidia or, you know, the CEOs here. I mean, they're not talking about wild valuations.
It's stupid. Look, it's running up.
Of what's ahead in terms of actually returns here, which makes it
You
different.
wanna buy you lunch?
If you look at, for instance, Nvidia's valuation compared to the 1990 internet stocks, we're not talking about those kind of levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Nvidia itself.
Wait. Why did I get an email from Trader? It's no trading on tier one data.
Firms to buy their stuff.
I've almost seen minutes considered tier one, but it's no, but it's just minutes though.
Which has been really kind of hemorrhaging cash from
So
an
1 p.m. today. Yeah.
An operating basis.
Yep.
In order to get them the money they need to buy all of the Nvidia chips. That's the concern. It is not that Nvidia itself,
Even with a government shutdown, they're still gonna have it.
Entire ecosystem has kind of run out of the capital from the cash flow of the hyperscalers who have been funding things so far, and now needs to be funded by debt and these very strange deals between Nvidia
just chop.
and some of these money-losing firms that have huge capital needs.
But isn't that just an example of just how much capital needs to go in for the transformative technology to play out? Sure, it might not be sustainable amount of investment, but it's there.
909 what for you, Google?
Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that these firms are attempting to invest hundreds of billions of dollars without anything like the cash flow necessary to be able to fund that. It's one thing if Microsoft or Meta wants to invest a whole bunch of money in data centers where they've got the cash flow for it. OpenAI doesn't, XAI doesn't, even Oracle is issuing a lot of debt to be doing
Order
this.
submitted.
And so the AI build-out has really shifted from being done out of corporate free cash flow to really being financed by a combination of debt, and now
Order filled.
a lot of investments from Nvidia. And it is not that Nvidia is not a wonderfully profitable business.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Cisco was
Oh my
a
God,
wonderfully
go.
profitable business in 1999 and 2000, but the kind of
Order
circular
Order filled. Order filled.
startups to buy
Order
their
filled.
products did not turn out very well.
It's a good little dip.
People have been definitely looking at charts of
Target
debt to
filled.
equity, for example.
Order
and Oracle's
submitted.
definitely an outlier on
Order
some of
filled.
those.
Order
Even
filled.
Order filled.
AI, yesterday, Ben, kind of interesting in that it involves a special purpose vehicle that sort of takes on some of that debt, then they rent the chips. I mean, is that kind of creativity and deal structure unusual or concerning?
Well, it's certainly unusual. And, you know, one of the things about tech is tech up until now was not a very capital-intensive business. That was the wonderful
Order
thing
submitted.
about kind of the Mag 6, let's hold aside Tesla, but they were
Order
wonderfully
submitted.
capital-light businesses. The industry is much
I
less
can see it going down to
capital-light
150
now,
before the next
which
bounce.
means it may have a really hard time holding up the
112
very
is
high
a little bit
returns
too
on capital that they
too
always
much, but
had
yeah,
when
150
they
is
didn't have to
doable.
invest very much. So this is a real change and very different from what we have seen historically.
Yeah, it's a great point, and then we sometimes forget one of the biggest
Hey,
arguments
Chico.
for Mag 7 going into the Fed hike cycle was the fact that they're less reliant on sort of debt cycles in general.
Blow
I'm
it
curious
already
about
so I can
Japan
reset.
and whether or not you think there'll be a real turn or pivot in economic policy there, and whether yields there, for example,
Order
will
submitted.
have some kind of material effect on other markets around the globe, including ours.
Yeah, I mean, Japan really does seem to have turned a bit of a corner, and they
Yeah,
have
you need to
some
stop,
inflation
Google.
now, which they have been unable to
You're
get
getting your
for,
pros, right, in 2
for
days,
years.
Google?
And so interest rates are
Let me
moving
scroll up and
gently
see your
higher there.
stats.
The thing we're most excited
You
about
little
in
snitch.
Japan is
I don't know, you only
the
passed
real
2.
sea
Good
change
job,
in the
though.
market for corporate control. The problem in Japan,
Good job,
everybody
Google.
knew there were lots of really cheap companies, but everybody also
And you're
knew,
gonna
well,
screenshot our
management doesn't
DM
seem to really
again.
care
I'm
about
just gonna block
shareholders.
you,
How
okay,
am I
Google?
gonna
I
get
would
any
never
of
do
this
that to you.
capital-free?
Never.
Now,
I've never sent a
suddenly, I mean,
DM
truly this
screenshot
year, we
of
are
our
seeing
chat to someone
profound
else.
changes in that. You're getting a lot more M&A, which is encouraged by the government. You are
You
seeing a
piece of
lot
shit.
more activity by private equity, and private equity has a wonderful
What's up,
opportunity
hamster?
here because there are tons of companies that are trading exceptionally cheap to their cash flows. But the public market in Japan, particularly on the small cap side, where a lot of these companies have very little following, particularly internationally, but they're solid companies that just have too much capital sitting around earning nothing on their balance sheets. But we see the potential for the kind of profound changes in shareholder directions that we started to see in the U.S. in the 1980s with kind of the creation of the LBO. It's going to happen faster in Japan, but we think there may be a decade here of very strong returns associated with just doing simple things that are really in shareholder interest.
Well, a lot of people have been waiting for that for a while. Ben, thank you for joining us. It's already having a good year. iShares Japan up 22%. Ben Inker from GMO.
Thanks very much.
Let's turn to the shutdown this morning. Now in its 8th day, another round of Senate votes expected to begin this hour. Let's turn to Emily Wilkins with another attempt at this.
Shuffle. Good shit, Rocky. I'll send you the code on Discord.
Throughout the week goes into next next week, if military members stop getting pay, you might hit the point for some of these Democrats that even if they want to see progress on healthcare, it's just not going to be tenable for them to continue voting to have the government remain shut down. So it's kind of a competing balance of pressure.
Oh, I didn't see the chat. What?
And I think at this point, it's a question, I think, how long the shutdown's going to go. It could be for a while still.
Yeah, there's the near-term paycheck dynamic, and then the longer-term subsidies going into a midterm year dynamic for sure. Emily, thank you, Emily Wilkins. When we come back, Tesla debuting a cheaper version of its Model Y and 3 yesterday, but will it fill the current demand gap? We'll talk about it.
Plus, IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva will join us as the IMF gears up for its annual meetings next week. We'll discuss the economy, inflation, tariffs, and much more on the agenda. Money Movers will be right back.
At Corient,
I don't know. Yeah, I see what Google wants.
Ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies.
Google says Google's coming back. Google just taking a shit. Oh my gosh, look at go. Holy shit. Not out too early.
The premiums were getting unreasonable.
We just didn't need the coverage anymore.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first.
I'll be here all day with you, baby.
No obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Man, I need That's on YouTube. You're gonna think it's a female and Gambit's a dude.
Old dogs feel young again.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you
I'll type it up.
Electrician? Trust, especially when it comes to your finances.
Are you a certified financial planner?
I'm a CFP professional. CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP.
Remember, the views were stunning.
What the hell?
She's delicious. How's your food, by the way?
I love it. It takes me back to our trip to Greece.
Yeah, sometimes.
Nuance Audio is the new invisible hearing solution built into your glasses. Hear what you
Yes, I was
see
like, who are you talking to about
with
Tesla?
open-ear
Oh,
speakers.
just Gambit.
Nuance Audio, in tune with life.
Like, you know.
Chewy pharmacy orders on the way
no.
for Gouda.
Oh, no, yesterday, yeah, I did.
Taking
I said no.
is matched only by his love of cheese.
Every day I
So
can.
Mom pairs the meds Chewy delivers with the finest fromage. And thanks to Chewy's licensed pharmacists, Mom knows these are quality meds for a quality boy. All Gouda knows is it's delicious.
Just the
For quality
pricing.
meds at great prices. For
That's
life with
about it,
pets,
but I don't know.
there's
I
Chewy
don't
Pharmacy.
think people want to go cheap. You know what I mean?
Introducing Sports Center for you, personalized every single day.
Yeah, because like when you get a Tesla, you want the technology and all the good stuff, but not like cheap version of it. They can just go buy another car, like a DL Hyundai. For sure, for sure.
Welcome back. Tesla making some headlines with that new, cheaper version of its Model Y and Model 3.
Yeah.
But will they help give sales and deliveries a boost after the federal EV tax credit did expire at the end of September? Joining us with his thoughts this morning, William Blair Group Head of Energy and Power Tech, Jed Dorsheimer, has a market perform rating on the stock. Jed, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
What'd you make of these new models?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's definitely going in the right direction. You know, you get about 3/4 or 2/3 of the of what you lost with the tax credit in terms of this cheaper version. So it's definitely going to be a demand filler. But you know, I still think the core auto business is facing a lot of headwinds, and from a stock perspective, probably doesn't matter all that much right now. Is clearly the valuation is more aligned with robotaxi, and You also did get the version 14.
That's why I'm
which
touching
was
gold.
released yesterday,
Gold is
too.
good. Like you
I
think it's
wonder,
gonna
do you
pump
see
more, and
them
it just
sort of
took a nice little
basically
dump.
doing the minimum to keep consumer interest in autos, in deliveries,
Just follow me.
sustained, but not
You
so
bag
much
hole, or
that
you
it's
can
a
make
drain
money.
on capital because they have so many higher priorities?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're
Yeah. And that's the one that's how I blew my Tradeday cup.
with the lack
Playing
of a Model
5
2. You know, if you
minis.
go back a year there or a year and a half ago, you know, were they going to
Yeah,
announce this
MTC.
new hyper competitive, you know, fast hatchback, probably to address the European market and kind of as well as the North American markets, and they pivoted away towards robo. And I think you're seeing that telegraph from a capital efficiency perspective here, and the stock
I
is
gave the
following
codes
suit.
to the
What do I mean
Tradeday.
by that? Well, if we
So
look at
Rocky
the
is
value that you
banned from
ascribe to
YouTube
the
winnings.
shares, auto is the least valuable, even though it makes up the most revenue. And clearly, these new models are going to be dilutive from a margin perspective. So as
Rocky,
long
who
as
else won?
investors are still focused on robo and autonomy, you know, coming out with
Casey,
these
not on
new
YouTube.
versions of FSD are probably the more material driver from a stock perspective.
But just on
Okay,
the cheaper
2 or
models,
3 already, dude. I
39,000,
can't
almost
give any more.
37,000. So is that going to do the trick? Is that going to convince
I mean,
people to buy electric?
I can't.
It does
So many
feel
people
like the
blown
market's
up.
been
There's
clamoring
not
for
much I can
a
do.
cheaper option.
First
Think
week.
of it this way: you just had $7,500 tax credit that everybody knew about in North America, and so if you were in the market and even thinking about in October, November of buying a car, like a vacuum, you pulled that forward, and you saw that, right? We just got 497,000 units delivered last quarter, which is a record. But that's going to leave a gap this quarter, and I think it's unlikely that, you know, getting $5,000 off versus where you just had $7,500 off, you know, probably unlikely to fill that. So we are expecting a 19% drop in terms of units next quarter, and I think margins are going to contract. And remember, you also have the regulatory tax credit that goes away. So a lot of people conflate that with the EV tax credit. The two are different, and so that's pure margin that's now going away, at least in the U.S.
And what, I don't know if you've looked at all the specs, but what are they sacrificing to get to that lower price point versus, you know, a higher priced Y? And is there risk there, you know, shaving some of the luxury touches off, for instance?
I mean, it's definitely, you know, they're cutting a few corners in terms of, you know, taking some of the benefits off. But
Yeah, a lot of people do that though. They just give it away because they're gonna throw it away either way. So just give it to the next person walking in.
So I think you know that same buyer, you know, I think this will probably do enough to appease. So I don't see that as the major issue. I just think in the core auto business, you're going into a tougher headwind. Now, should also point out one of the areas that doesn't get much attention, which was also a blowout, or significantly record, was the energy business, and that continues to steadily plod along. That's an area that we're focused on and very bullish on. Which was 12 gigawatt hours, and while it's only 15% of revenue, it's 25% of the profitability. We do think that can probably fill that gap a bit more as they march towards autonomy.
You're definitely right about the overall guidance in autos, given what BMW said today and Mercedes yesterday and Porsche last week, Jed. But Tesla's a slightly different animal. It's good to get your take again. Talk soon. Jed Dorsheimer.
Still ahead, shares of FedEx moving lower today after JP Morgan downgrades the stock to neutral. We'll break down that call next.
Later on, this crypto rally minting 70,000 new crypto millionaires in the last year. How are they spending their newfound wealth? We're going to talk about that with Robert Frank when Money Movers continues.
It's a rare thing when someone you've been with for so long finds a way to surprise you. It's like discovering E-Trade's easy-to-use platform now comes with the power of Morgan Stanley.
Mom can speak walrus?
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-523-6900. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
This is the farmer's dog turkey. This is also turkey, but only one is gently cooked to give your dog the nutrients they need without the ultra processing. Get 50% off your first box only at thefarmersdog.com.
$600 a year. If you're 50 plus,
Man, this
you
goal
can
would
save
not
up to
drop
that much by
anymore.
switching 2 unlimited lines
It's getting
from
annoying.
wireless to
I'm still
consumer
bag
cellular.
holding since 3 a.m.
And
last
you've got
night.
the same reliable coverage. So why don't you pick up your phone while I take this hammer and...
Yo, I couldn't sleep, man. Look, let me show you. Make it. I was 200 from blowing earlier with a big pump, all-time high again, but
see how we can cut your bill. If
oh,
you're over
so
50,
bad.
get
I wanted to
200
blow
lines
actually,
for
so I can just
$30
reset for the $100.
all consumer cellular.
What's up, Rocky?
For Huli.
Yeah, I can't pass that shit, dude. It's so annoying. I cannot pass any of the 150K.
We became her magic. Every night
Look at it. I'm barely touching it.
dedicated
I don't
to
know. I need to just go buy 25K or 50K again, because I can pass those easily. Just the big one, that suck.
were made for Huli.
You're right.
Is this how you're hoping to retire?
Alright, after the reset. So what do? You start out with 2 or 3 NQ or what?
You've worked for a comfortable retirement for years. Now you need to plan for
Alright,
retirement.
I'll do
income.
3 next
Learn
time.
ways to avoid common mistakes, like
Dude,
being
it's
too
getting
conservative
annoying.
or not setting retirement goals. Have someone on your side to keep you on track.
Call for Fisher's Comfortable Retirement Kit with the help you need to make your retirement a success, including the Investor's Guide to a Comfortable Retirement, 13 retirement blunders to avoid, and maximize your
Look,
Social
NQ's
Security.
going back up. The 3 minutes going back up too, so it looks like got some more room to go up.
Fisher tailors a plan to keep you on track for a
Yeah.
retirement you want. And as a fiduciary,
So I don't want to touch
we
NQ
do
at this
better
level. It's just
when
too
our clients
scary.
do better.
Call now for your Comfortable Retirement Kit. Call 1-800-759-4477.
Call us today. You don't have it coming.
And it can rug any time too, you know what I mean?
If your portfolio is $1 million or more, call 1-800-759-4477.
Stomach hurts. The coffee's killing me.
Order submitted.
Stream Squawk on the Street. If you can't catch Fast Money in real time,
I mean,
watch us later on CNBC Plus.
the couch hurts.
You can get for your phone, you can get for your TV. Just check it out.
With enhanced data. What you're currently seeing is our CNBC Plus data feed.
I don't know. I got coffee and breakfast, so maybe.
Very informational. I like that.
You're always connected. Look at that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Streaming at cnbc.com/plus.
Welcome back. JP Morgan downgrading shares of FedEx to neutral this morning. Our Frank Holland has more on the call. Frank.
Well, Sarah,
Order
FedEx
filled.
moving lower, underperforming the transports in the broader market on a JP Morgan downgrade, citing weakness in its freight division. The analysts say could challenge its full-year EPS guidance and
That's the
possibly
main
continue
reason.
into the planned spinoff of FedEx Freight coming up in June. It's just the latest trucking
What's up?
downgrade this
Your
week.
mic is cutting
Almost
out.
all major players have seen a price target cut, including XPO and Old Dominion, who operate in that same less-than-truckload space as FedEx Freight, and also two of the biggest national carriers, J.B. Hunt and Knight Swift. The continued freight recession is just weighing on the entire sector, according to JPM. Analysts say in part, our recent channel checks confirm price discipline across the industry is bent.
It's a little bit. No, I said that.
Order canceled.
A more supportive volume backdrop emerges. As of now,
Lazy.
there's not really clear signs that volumes
Lazy,
are
that's why.
improving. Container shipping on rails down 1% in September
Order
year over
submitted.
year. Now, this is
Yeah, but
generally
still,
when
that's
they build
it.
holiday goods heading to warehouses. It's not a full read on the freight market, but often a proxy for the broader freight environment. We also continue to see contraction in the manufacturing sector, where some of the highest margin freight comes from. The ISM has been below 50 for most of this year, and tariffs have weighed on that sector as well as CEO confidence. Analysts are also citing increased capacity, weighing on pricing in this sector. Orders for new tractor trailers, they've jumped double digits year over year and month over month. Now, some of that is companies trying to get ahead of new truck tariffs
too
to
today.
take effect on November the 1st. Those tariffs could also raise expenses,
I
pressure
know.
margins for the entire industry. So a lot of things weighing on freight.
Yeah, it's always tricky to figure out whether FedEx is a good economic barometer. It sounds
Can't
like more
speak your
correlated to
mind.
manufacturing than
I know,
but consumer spending, for instance, Frank, has actually been relatively healthy and held up, especially online, where they ship a lot of packages.
Well, that's the other
Stay
thing. They're
single,
also facing
Gambit.
a lot more capacity and competition when it comes to the parcel business. A lot of other smaller players are getting to the parcel
We're
business.
supposed to go
Report
check
came
their
out a few
funeral
days ago
packages
just
for
talking
my
about
parents
FedEx and
next
UPS
weekend
seem to
too.
be fighting each other for market share, while some of the competitors are taking volume away from it.
Sister-in-law saying that
tariffs on heavy
it's a good
trucks coming
deal.
in.
She want me to
Obviously, we're
go
watching cardboard. Frank,
because
it's an interesting
she want me to
macro
write the
story.
check.
Frank, on this JPM downgrade of FedEx. Let's get a news update with Julia Borsten.
Yeah.
Hi again, Julia.
Hi, Carl.
'Cause
Law
nobody else
enforcement
helps.
sources tell NBC News an arrest has been made in the investigation into the destructive Palisades
I
fire
have
in
three,
Los Angeles
two.
County.
The
A
oldest
formal
one is half,
announcement is expected
and then
later today. The
Dumas,
Palisades fire
that's the
sparked
second
on
oldest
January
one,
7th,
and then
killed
there's me,
12
the
people
youngest
and
one.
destroyed
The other
7,000
two,
structures
one
in the
comes
Los
visit
Angeles
like once a
area.
month. The second
Hamas
one
and
doesn't
Egypt
visit.
voiced optimism about
But
negotiations
that's
to
it. They
end
don't
the
help
two-year war
financially.
in Gaza.
Zero.
The militant group said it submitted a list of Palestinian prisoners to be released in exchange for Israeli hostages under a U.S.-backed ceasefire plan.
I think it was
Israel has not commented yet
actually
on
this
the
year,
statement,
like 6
which
months
comes
ago.
as U.S.
My dad said, "Oh, they
envoys
can't.
Steve
I can tell when they
Witkoff and
come,
Kushner joined
because
the
they'll bring
talks
food and
today,
they'll have food
along with
on the
Qatari
table for
Prime
them."
Minister. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments
Yeah,
today on a
comes like
challenge
once
to
a
an
year.
Illinois voting law allowing ballots to
That's
be
still
counted
sad.
even if
That's
received
really
after
pathetic.
Election Day. Under the rules, ballots postmarked by Election Day are added to the tally even if they are received up to 14 days later. The practice is permitted in many
Yeah,
Democratic-led
he's
states and
asking
has
because
faced
his
challenges
friend's also
by
my friend too, and
Sarah
she was
Becker.
like, "Oh yeah, he's asking to go to Disney with us and
After the
stuff."
break,
So
International
he's probably like
Monetary Fund
lonely.
Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva joins us as the IMF gears up for one of its annual meetings next
But he
week.
still
We'll
live in the
discuss
same house with
economy,
the two
inflation,
dogs. That's
trade,
it.
and much more. Speaking of next week in Washington, also happening, CNBC's first ever Invest in America Forum. I'll be live there interviewing CEOs, policymakers, all about
Oh
what it
shoot,
looks
I
like to be
should
investing in
short
America right
MNQ.
now across industry,
Where did it long
industrial
at?
policy,
46.
long-term growth prospects.
Yeah.
You can scan the QR
He
code
would have
right
met
there on
a
the
lot,
screen or visit
but who knows, you know?
cnbcevents.com/invest to learn more and to attend. Money Movers will be right back.
Are you trying to blame me? Is that what you're trying to say?
Order canceled.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Order submitted.
What's up? Forgetting you still work. Bye. You're long MNQ? Nice. Good shit, Moogle. I'm short at 31.
Rather than get rich quick, I believe in get rich slow. The high yield cash account at Public actually